Good evening. Good afternoon. I just closed my door and I noticed that my cat is in my room. So he's just hanging out. Hi, Concept. Hi, Jason. Hi, Goober. Welcome in. My YouTube stream is now working again. I don't know. He's very needy today. He was crawling all over me and I was giving him a good scratch and then he got his hair everywhere and now I'm covered in his fur and every time I touch my face... Whoa, did you see that? How come... Oh my god, Goober, you have a cooler name tag than everyone else. What the... So does Jason! Why do you guys have cool... What the... Whoa! Since when? I don't know why. Did I accidentally make one? Dang. It's like before the... Maybe you joined after a certain point? I don't know. It's weird. Anyways, hello guys! How are you guys today? Yeah, of course, because you're kinky. Today's a chill day where we just read. My throat's a little wet. A little wet feeling because I just ate some crackers. Good, going good. I want it to be the weekend. Me too. If it was the weekend, then I wouldn't have to... I wouldn't have to work early morning tomorrow and Friday. It'd be over. I find out my schedule tomorrow too, and I'm nervous because I don't want it to be long again. These are the troubles. Tribulations. The tribulations of my life. I've been tempted to play Sims now that I have it all set up and stuff. But I know that I shouldn't because... Oh, you want it to be later because you're gonna get pizza? What kind of pizza? I'm thinking of, like, making my own. Like, what would a mermaid look like? I want pizza. I want, like, a good pizza. I don't like how... There. It was overlapping and it was bugging me. Where is my book? There it is. Barbecue pizza with jalapenos and bacon. Yo! That sounds really good. I wish that I had that. Yum, yum, yum. I love jalapeno poppers. Jalapeno poppers. Especially on a burger. Good stuff. My cat's still hanging out. At some point, I'm gonna have to let him out. Because he'll be like, I want freedom. But until then, he's found this spot behind my PC. And I don't get it because it'd be really hot, but it's like, it's already extremely hot in the house because it's summertime. So I don't know why it wants to be more hot. Good news about the spider situation. No more spiders that I can see. There hasn't been one that has left the air conditioning, so I think we're pretty golden on the spider situation. Is your cat a spider hunter? When they can see it, he will eat them. or at least punch them until they die. My other cat, Honey, she will punch them and then leave them. She won't eat them, but Kermit will eat them. I cast obliteration. Yeah, if you guys weren't here last week, or maybe a week or so ago, an egg hatched. A spider egg hatched somewhere in my air-conditioned vent, and I was getting baby spiders pouring out in droves. Okay, they weren't that many, but it was like at least 50 baby spiders patrolling about. And I opened up my window for a little bit in case they wanted to like fly out, but I don't know how many of them escaped. And then I vacuumed up the rest. And then I squished the guys hanging out. But oh my god, there were so many of them. They were making cobwebs everywhere. They were across my screen and on the chairs and like all over my mic stand. I saw a really freaky spider the other day too. When it was like it's a wood something. They eat pill bugs. And they have the weirdest looking butt ever. It looks like a giant peanut that's wrinkly. It's kind of gross. I had a house spider in my closet and it was big. I don't like house spiders. The ones that look like they're wrinkly. Like they just look like they've been crumpled up, and then they're like, when they move, it's like, oh my god, have you moved ever? Because they just look so yucky. I hate spiders. Yeah, spiders are good when when they're in places where they belong. You know, like if I go outside and I see a spider in a spider web, I'm like, this is where you belong. But if I see a spider in my house, or too many, then I'm like, you don't belong in here. Hi, Lag. That's where they don't belong in my house. Maybe one spider in the house is okay because then they can eat like flies and stuff. Or maybe I should get like a carnivorous plant. I used to have a carnivorous plant, but I didn't really know how to take care of it, and I didn't look up how to take care of it, so it was really sad. Wolves live in your country? Yo, cool. I have lots of bears. There are a lot of bears here. I don't think... There's gotta be wolves somewhere in the country, but I don't know where they would be. Maybe like in the dense forest. Ultra instincts to catch the annoying Can you like grab it with chopsticks? You know, like people that like and they like snap it? I'm okay with some spiders because they pay rent by eating more annoying bugs. I love carnivorous plants too. Pitcher plants, mostly over Venice. I want a pitcher plant. I think they look so funky. I'm mostly worried that my cats are gonna come find them and like stick their noses in them. Yeah, the large spiders don't belong inside. If I had a pitcher plant, would I give it a name? I feel like a pitcher plant should be named Lucy. I don't know why. I don't have a reason, but it should be. Lucy. Lucy in the sky with diamonds. The only thing is they grow really slow and need grow lights. Oh, so they're like high maintenance carnivorous plants. Lucy eats flies with diamonds. Many years ago in my country, wolves got hunted till they were gone. Oh no! I'm glad they're not extinct anymore. Apparently that's what happened with pumas here or something. I forget the story, but there were a lot of pumas where I live, and then they got chased off, or they were killed, but then one or a few got in the water and swam to a nearby island, and now the puma population is really big on that island. Like, they just swam away. I have an eagle in my neighborhood. Oh, no, you haven't seen it for months. Well, aside from distilled water, so no tap water. What is distilled water exactly? I used to have a hermit crab, and you had to spritz it with distilled water, but I didn't know what it was. I just bought it, and I sprayed it. Sometimes I still have dreams about my hermit crab. She lived a long time. I I wish I had a before and after picture of how old, like, the growth of them. Because I got her when she was really itty bitty witty. And then she grew real big. And then she died while she was trying to molt once. And it was sad. If smart water is so smart, how to get trapped in a bottle? Yeah! Exactly! That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know the questions to ask. We recently started selling black water at work, and I don't know what the benefits are. I think it's like it has special minerals in it, but it looks like charcoal was mixed in the water. Your uncle has a hedgehog? That's so cute. Hedgehogies. I've never thought about ever owning a hedgehog. I've thought about owning like a chinchilla and a ferret, but I've never considered owning a hedgehog for some reason. I'm eating Ritz Bits sandwiches. Filling made with real cheese. Okay, let me finish these Ritz sandwiches, and then we'll begin our Warrior Cat Wednesday. Her name is Cookie? That's so cute. Oh, my cat has risen. Kermit, do you want to go out? Do you want to go out, Kermit? Do you want to come on my lap? He wants to go. Hey, Papa. I have 2 cats. Honey and Kermit. Honey's my older cat, and Kermit's the baby cat. Well, he's not really a baby anymore. He's like 2 years old? Almost? Almost 2 years? Or maybe he is 2 years. Yeah, he is 2 years. He turned 2 years in June. And I think my current cat is turning 5 in like 9 days? You have 5 cats? What are their names? You have your whole clan. You have a whole warrior cat clan. Ooh. You lived in a pineapple under the sea, SpongeBob SquarePants. Okay. I finished my Ritz sandwiches. Hi, Catty! I finished my Ritz. The cat has been let out. Thank you for your purchase. Please enjoy your rocks. Thank you for lurking, Catty. And okay. Wow, raw. Thanks. Oh, raw. So, Charlie, Coco, Pip, Pumpkin or Pumpkin? King. Pumpkin and Oreo. Aw, those are so cute. I like Pip. Pip is such a cute name. Okay, so previously on the Blazing Star, what happened? Time passed. Everybody was gearing up to meet at the Four Trees again to see if the cats were gonna show up, the Star Spirit cats, and then they did. Surprisingly, they did show up, and then everyone was like, "Hey, we've been friendly for a month. Is everything safe?" And then they were like, "No, there's still a danger." And they're like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, you guys are still gonna die unless you figure out how to fix it." And also something about a blazing star. They mentioned like this big blazing star, and like I don't know. I think maybe they said watch out for it. And everyone was like, "What's the blazing star?" And they were like, "We can't tell you. You have to figure it out yourself." And River Ripple, River Ripple is also showed up, and it looks like a few cats are probably gonna go stay with him. And I think, who was it? Lightning Fur's sister, I forget her name, left the hollow, left them on the prairie, and went to Clear Skies in the forest. We don't really know why, but yeah. She left. And then we switched into Clear Sky's POV, and Clear Sky saw Tom and this weird old cat, and they basically manipulated him to let them in the clan, which is crazy because Clear Sky is already really good at manipulating. So he's being like out manipulated by Tom and this scrangly cat. And we don't like Tom. Tom is evil. And so is this scraggly cat because he's friends with Tom. And if you weren't here, what Tom did, Tom used to be a kitty pet, and he was an abuser cat, and he used to beat up Turtletail and Bumble, who were his cat. They lived with him in his cat house, and then Turtletail left to come live with the cats again in the clan because she got pregnant and she didn't want Tom to like take her kits, because the two legs would essentially take the kits. Then Bumble left because Bumble started getting beaten up by Tom, and then unfortunately Bumble ended up dying because she couldn't find anywhere to stay safely. And then Tom came and he convinced his kits that they should come live with him, and he stole them and he brought them back to his house, and Turtletail went after them, and she got hit by a car and died on the way there. And then they brought the kits back, and they found out that their mom was killed, and they're like, "Why did you take us from your dad?" And then they were like, "Your dad sucks," in different words. And Greywing, I forget his name. He was like, I'm your father pretty much. I've been with you since you were born, and I've been raising you. And so they're pretty attached to him now, because they're like found family kind of shindig. And he also stepped down from being the leader of the Prairie Cats, and Thunder is Thunder and Tall Shadow are now the main leaders. And Wind. And that's what's happening there. So we just got Tom. Tom just joined with old scraggly guy. And yeah, there we are. Let us begin. Please make yourself comfortable. Do some chores or hang out or take a nap. I don't know. Get your work done while I'm busy reading, or just sit back, relax. Chapter 6. A stiff breeze was blowing, whipping dead leaves from the trees. Leaf fall is nearly on us, Clear Sky thought as he headed along his border with Tom and One Eye by his side. Acorn Fur padded in their paw steps a couple of tail lengths behind. It has also been maybe 2 weeks since I've read, so I will be stumbly a lot. Privately, Clear Sky held on to his reservations about admitting the mangy rogue... Oh my gosh, I am very out of... The mangy rogue and smelly kitty pet to his group, but he had to admit that, so far, they were contributing. One Eye was a ruthless hunter, and was helping to keep the cats well fed, even if most of them were still a little wary of him. They'll probably get used to him in time, Clear Sky told himself. And isn't it better to have a cat like One Eye by my side rather than wandering free? The sound of crackling behind him made Clear Sky halt and turn, his shoulder fur beginning to bristle at the possible danger. The sound reminded him too clearly of the flames that had devoured the forest. I don't want to go through anything like that again. Then he spotted Acorn Fur rolling around in the hollow of dead leaves, batting at them with all 4 paws. He rolled his eyes. Well, she's hardly more than a kid. Acorn Fur, he began. Stop messing around. Tom interrupted with a snarl. I'm starving and I haven't eaten since morning. Clear Sky clambered out of the hollow, a hurt look in her eyes as she shook scraps of leaf from her fur. Sorry, she muttered. Jesus. Clear Sky glanced across at Tom, seeing that his belly had shrunk in the few days since he joined the group, and a good thing too. In the forest, we only eat when there's food available, he meowed gently. It's something we must all get used to. I remember when... Don't tell me again how you were all starving in the mountains, Tom interrupted again. I've heard that story too many times. I never asked you to join the group, Clear Sky retorted, his voice rough with the beginnings of a snarl. You can leave any time you like. Tom looked like he was about to start arguing, but clearly had the sense to keep his jaw shut. Clear Sky relaxed, glad that the confrontation was over. Her paws pattered on the dead leaves. Acorn Fur bounded up and brushed her pelt against his. She seemed ready to do the same to Tom, then halted, her nose wrinkling slightly. I'm sorry if I messed up, she mewed. I don't want to start a fight. The last moon has been so great. True, Clear Sky murmured. Now that normal life had replaced the constant skirmishing, it had been a relief to sleep through the night and wake up refreshed. He suppressed a shiver at the thought of the nightmares that had plagued his rest for so long. He'd been so worried about protecting his cats and their territory, ensuring that every cat had enough to eat. It hadn't been easy. It would be good now to share prey and territories, to pull together. As the patrol set out again, a rustling sounded from the edge of the forest. Instantly, One Eye whirled in the direction of the noise. Get off of our territory, he snarled, whoever you are. Hey, wait, Clear Sky meowed. We don't have trespassers now. But he was too late. While he was still speaking, Tom charged off towards the sound, his fur bristling up like hedgehog spine. Clear Sky raced after him, with Acorn Fur dashing alongside, eager to help. One Eye trailed after them as if he'd lost interest. Stay out of the way, Clear Sky ordered Acorn Fur as he threw himself in front of Tom. The kitty pet was facing a dangerous-looking tabby Tom, muscular with small ears like a mouse. Tom was snarling and flourishing his claws, but it was obvious to Clear Sky that he had no idea how to fight. Back off unless you want to get your ears shredded, Clear Sky snapped at Tom, pushing him away. He was vaguely aware of the other voices calling at a distance, and a few heartbeats later, Greywing and Thunder emerged from the undergrowth, their eyes wide as they padded up to the group of cats. Oh yeah, they also got 3 new cats that joined the prairie cats. Okay, Mousy, keep calm. Greywing meowed, brushing the tabby Tom's shoulder with his tail. It was all a misunderstanding. There's no need to fight. Meanwhile, Thunder was gazing curiously at One Eye. Who's this? He asked. A new friend, Clear Sky replied, dipping his head to his son. His name is One Eye. He joined my group a few sunrises ago. And this... He began, stretching a paw out towards Tom. You don't need to tell us. Clear Sky was startled to hear the growl in Greywing's voice. His brother was usually the calmest of the cats. We know all about Tom. How? Clear Sky asked, surprised. Clear Sky, you've taken in the kitty pet who stole Turtletail's kits. Greywing told him. You do remember Turtletail, don't you? Guilt stabbed into Clear Sky. Those were Turtletail's kits? I didn't know. I should have tried to stop him from taking them, he thought. As quickly as it came, the guilt disappeared, replaced by fury. How dare Greywing humiliate me like this in front of Tom and One Eye? I've worked so hard to keep the new rules we agreed with the spirit cats. I thought all the old grudges had been put behind us after the battle, he meowed stiffly. Isn't that what every cat agreed upon? Greywing, I would have thought that you of all cats would be fair and open-minded about these things. After all, he continued, letting the anger guide his words, you've relied on Thunder to lead your group now that you're no longer up to the task. Thunder would have been within his right to drive you out and leave you to fend for yourself. A broken cat. You should count yourself lucky. That's not how we do things, Thunder protested. Greywing stayed silent. Clear Sky knew that he had touched a nerve, and he could see the hurt in his brother's eyes. Instantly, he regretted losing his temper. Pacing forward, he touched noses with his brother. Not that it would ever come to that, he purred. I would always give you a home. His personality flips crazy. Or his mood, at least. Yes, Acorn Fur gave an excited little bounce. Come and live with us, Greywing. Clear Sky spotted Thunder cringing at the young she-cat's eager words. That wasn't what we needed to hear right now, he thought. That's enough, he told Acorn Fur sternly. Greywing has a perfectly good home of his own. As silence fell, Clear Sky realized that Tom and the big brown tabby were still facing each other, glaring aggressively, their neck fur standing on end. Calm yourself, Mousy. Thunder hissed at the tabby as he stepped between the two of them. The tabby obediently backed off, and Thunder turned to Tom. I think we've met before, he mewed. Clear Sky spotted a flash of anger in Tom's eyes before it turned to amusement. I believe we have, he agreed. In fact, I believe you stole my kits from me. How are they? I hope they didn't wake up the night crying for their dead mother. Oof. That's enough, Clear Sky snapped at Tom, shocked by the kitty pet's cruel words. He turned to the other cats and added with a glance at Mousewing, We're all bringing new cats into our groups. Let's just accept that this is the way things have to be for now. Thunder, Tom may have been a kitty pet, but you should trust that your father knows a good fighter when he meets one. Fighter? Thunder's tone was sharp. What do you need a fighter for? It would be a foolish cat who wasn't prepared to defend himself, Clear Sky replied. Dogs, badgers, rogue cats, two-legs. Who knows where the next danger will come from? And there's always a next danger, he continued, pleased to see that Thunder couldn't hold his gaze. Isn't that why the spirit cats came back? To advise us how to survive? You train your cats in fighting techniques, right? Thunder's gaze was fixed on his paws. We train cats in hunting techniques. We don't need anything else. Greywing padded closer to his young kin, standing beside him. Any cat has the instincts to use claws in a fight, he told his brother, but hunting, now that takes patience and learning. Thunder is doing the right thing. He turned, and with Thunder at his side, headed towards the moors. After one last glare at Tom's direction, Mousy followed. Goodbye, Clear Sky called out uncertainly. Why the heck did they even come to visit? Did they just come to say hi? Mouseear was the only cat to look back. You're a fool, he meowed to Clear Sky. I've known One Eye for a long time. He's not to be trusted. You'll live to regret taking him in. Clear Sky didn't respond. Stiffly, he turned away, signaling with a wave of his tail for his cats to follow him on the way back to camp. He had to make a conscious effort to keep his shoulder lying flat. No ex-rogue is going to tell me what to do. He's so proud. He can't fathom taking advice. He cannot be humbled. Chapter 7. On the way back to camp with Greywing and Mouseear, Thunder pondered whether they could trust Clear Sky. He was worried by the importance his father put on training to fight. He can talk about dogs and badgers until his fur falls off, Thunder thought, but I can't shake the feeling that he intends to fight other cats. When he arrived back at the camp, he saw Owl Eyes, Sparrowfur, and Pebbleheart batting a ball of moss to one another at the edge of the hollow. From her place on the rock, Tall Shadow kept a watch over them. I don't think I could ever have Tall Shadow's patience, Thunder thought, but maybe that's why we make a good team. He didn't always agree with the Black She-Cat, but he valued her wisdom and experience, and Windrunner has stopped pushing herself forward since she had her kits. That makes life a lot easier. At the same time, he wished that Greywing had never wanted to give up the leadership. I wonder if Tall Shadow spotted Tom or One Eye while she's been up on that rock, Greywing muttered, as if he had sensed some of what was going on through Thunder's mind. We've got to tell every cat that One Eye is joined up with Clear Sky, Mouseear put in. Mudpaws and Holly know him too, and they'll certainly have something to say. While the Tabby Tom was speaking, Pebbleheart broke away from his littermates and raced over to Thunder and the others. Is everything all right? He asked anxiously. Has he picked up that we're worried? Thunder wondered. Everything is fine, little one, Greywing mewed reassuringly. Though he said nothing, Thunder asked himself whether they ought to be more open with Pebbleheart. It was clear that he had talents that were beyond most cats. Maybe they should encourage him to use them. Greywing bounded across the hollow and leaped up onto Tall Shadow's rock, leaning close to whisper in her ear. Let all cats gather together beside the rock, she called out immediately. Thunder and Mouseear collected Owl Eyes, Sparrowfur, and Pebbleheart and headed down into the camp, finding a place to sit close to the rock. Lightning Tail joined them. Cloudspots and Dapplepelt settled nearby, while Jagged Peak limped up with Holly and Mudpaws. Oh yeah! Jagged Peak was busy flirting with Holly last time. Windrunner and Gorsefur sat at the entrance to their den while their kits wrestled happily in front of them. Greywing's glance traveled across the camp as the rest of the cats gathered around. Clear Sky has some new cats in his group, he announced. So what? Jagged Peak asked with a dismissive flick of his tail. We've got 3 new cats ourselves. Mouseear rose to his paws and dipped his head respectfully to Greywing and Tall Shadow. The problem is, he explained, that Clear Sky's new cats are a rogue and a kitty pet. And the rogue in particular is an old enemy of ours. Holly sprang to her paws, her spiky fur seeming even more bristly than before. Not One Eye, she snarled. Mouseear nodded. I thought he lived on the other side of the Thunder Path. Mudpaws meowed. What's he doing over here? It can't be anything good. This cat is bad news, Holly hissed. He's a dreadful bully, a thief, a scavenger. He manipulates other cats and stirs up trouble. Has Clear Sky gone mad? Thunder noticed that Jagged Peak was shifting closer to Holly, his eyes shining with admiration. I think you must be a very wise cat, Jagged Peak murmured, to have such insight. Bro, it isn't time to flirt! We're having an important meeting! Holly gave him a swift glance, surprised but pleased. Thunder had to stifle a murmur of laughter. She's certainly brave, he thought. Maybe that's what Jagged Peak likes about her. Oh yeah, and Thunder, Thunder saw someone from River Ripple's group he got swooned upon. He spluttered about talking to. That was cute. On top of the rock, Tall Shadow turned to look at Greywig. Clear Sky is your brother, she meowed. What do you think about this development? Thunder knew what he thought, that Clear Sky must have bees in his brain to introduce troublemakers into his group. But he stayed silent to listen to what Greywing would say. As Greywing stepped forward, Thunder heard the quiet rattle of his breathing. His health is still poor, he thought anxiously, and fighting in that huge battle can't have helped. He knew that Pebbleheart had worked hard with Dapplepelt and Cloudspots to heal their denmates' injuries. But Thunder didn't think there was anything that any cat could do to heal the injury to his lungs that Greywing had suffered in the forest fire. I'm sure Clear Sky thinks he's doing the right thing, Greywing began. Tall Shadow let out a discursive snort. Clear Sky always thinks he's doing the right thing, she pointed out. He thought he was doing the right thing when he started guarding his borders, and look where that got us. Thunder couldn't hide his surprise that Tall Shadow had interrupted so quickly after inviting Greywing to speak. But the black she-cat herself seemed to realize that she had made a mistake. I'm sorry, she mewed, dipping her head to Greywing. I haven't been myself since our last visit to the 4 trees. I can't stop thinking about the blazing star and what the spirit cat's message might mean. She shook her head impatiently. It's keeping me awake at night. Greywing touched Tall Shadow lightly on the shoulder with the tip of his tail. That's okay, he reassured her. It worries me too. As for Clear Sky, I'm sure he knows he did wrong leading up to the battle, and he's full of regret. He won't want to stir up trouble again, but we have to be realistic. Clear Sky is a cat who will always try to protect his home, and he'll go to great lengths to do that. He's taken on some pretty unpleasant cats, One Eye and Tom, who stole Turtletail's kits. He broke off as yowls of protest broke out from the cats sitting around him. Thunder felt a huge bubble of anger swell inside him. He couldn't control it. Leaping to his paws, he glared around him, his neck fur bristling and his tail lashing as the words seemed to explode from him. We need to start fight training, Thunder declared. Clear Sky's cats are doing just that, and so should we, especially with dangerous cats like Tom and One Eye to deal with. Several other cats yowled their agreement, but Thunder noticed that Sparrowfur and Owl Eyes were exchanging looks of distress. Who the heck are Sparrowfur and Owl Eyes? I forget. Oh, the kittens! Do they mean our father? Sparrowfur asked indignantly. I don't know if he's dangerous, but I'm sure he's not evil. Thunder wasn't surprised that the kit should feel curiosity about their father, and maybe even a trace of loyalty, but he didn't have time to speak to them. As the yowling died away, Greywing had begun again. Harmony and peace are good, he meowed. But I've been thinking this over, and I'm afraid we're being stupid to ignore what might happen. We don't intend to attack any cat, but we should be prepared. Even if the threat doesn't come from One Eye and Tom, there are other dangers out there. Dogs, foxes, Jagged Peak interrupted. Exactly, Greywing responded. Leafall is here, and before we know it, Leaf Bear will be upon us. And with Leaf Bear comes desperate, hungry animals. So, is it agreed? We will live in peace, but we train for battle. Battle we never hope to see. The cat's angry yowling gave way to murmurs of excitement. Lightning Tail sprang up beside Thunder, his whiskers twitching eagerly. I'll help you with the training, Thunder, he promised. I'll help too, Holly put in. I know a few moves that can deal with cats like One Eye. Will you train me too? Jagged Peak asked, limping forward hopefully. Thunder was about to protest that Jagged Peak's damaged leg would only hinder him, but Holly spoke before he could. Of course I'll train you, she responded. Every cat has it in them to become a fighter. Holly, that's why he likes her. She's not treating him any differently. Owl Eyes and Sparrowfur exchanged an excited glance. Even kits? Sparrowfur asked. Especially kits, Holly replied. Suppose enemies attack the camp. You would need to be able to defend yourselves. There's no time to lose. Together with Holly and Lightning Tail, Thunder led all the cats who were willing to fight out of the hollow, where he found a clear space for training. He felt a thrill of hope. Yes, Clear Sky's taking in some untrustworthy cats, but the need to train has united us here in the Hollow, and that's got to be a good thing. Spirit Cats told us to unite or die. Whatever dangers await us, we will be ready. As he waited for all the cats to arrive, Thunder heard Sparrowfur speaking just behind him, her voice full of anxiety. Why do all the cats think that Tom is our enemy? Glancing over his shoulder, Thunder saw that all 3 kits were clustered around Greywing, who seemed stumped for a reply. Well, he began. He's our father, Owl Eyes interrupted, and if they don't want him around, then maybe they don't want us either. There's no need to worry about that, Greywing meowed. All 3 of you have a lot to contribute to our group. It doesn't matter what your father did. Well, we don't know what he did, Sparrowfur objected. In a lower voice, she added, one day I'm going to find him and learn the truth for myself. Holly moved into the center of the training area, and the rest of the cats formed a ragged circle around her. Greywing looked relieved as the kit stopped questioning him. I'm going to show you how to fool your attacker by rolling out of the way, Holly announced. Look. Throw yourself to one side like this. She demonstrated the move, letting her legs skid out from under her and ending up on her back with her paws in the air. Lie on your back and let them see your belly. But doesn't that put you in danger? Owl Eyes asked, glanced around nervously as he realized that all the older cats were listening to him. Greywing told us you should never expose your soft belly to an attacker. True, Holly meowed, her eyes gleaming, but the point is to make your opponent think that that's what you're doing. As they launch into attack, you kick out with your back legs and stun them, like this. She let fly with a powerful kick from her back legs. Whoa! Exclaimed Shattered Ice. That's great. What do you do next? Leap to your paws, Holly replied, doing so. Then pounce on their back. They won't know what's happening, and you can rake your claws down their side and bite their tail at the same time. I defeated cats in moments with this move. Thunder's pelt prickled with excitement from ears to tail tip. He slid out his claws, imagining himself sinking them into One Eye or Tom. Then he winced as he remembered the reek of blood and the shrieks of the cats who died in the battle at the 4 trees. Even Jagged Peak could do this, Holly continued. Especially Jagged Peak. With his limp, attacking cats might think he's vulnerable. Hello, thank you for the follow, Funi Galax. Welcome to the galaxy of stories. Thanks for following. Oh, I've lost my place. Oh, here we go. Actually, especially Jagged Peak. With his limp, attacking cats will think he's vulnerable. If he lies on his back and shows his belly, it'll make them feel overconfident. But you can still leap, even with 3 legs, can't you, Jagged Peak? Jagged Peak gave a vigorous nod, his eyes glowing with pleasure at Holly's confidence in him. Come on, then, Holly mewed. Let's practice together. The rest of you, divide into pairs and do the same. But remember, no claws. Thunder watched as Shattered Ice padded up to Owl Eyes. Come on, young one, the gray and white Tom meowed. See if you can trick me. Owl Eyes flung himself enthusiastically into the exercise, though Thunder was glad to see that Shattered Ice was being gentle with his smaller opponent. Feeling a touch on his shoulder, Thunder turned to see Lightning Tail. Get out of camp, you filthy invader! His friend snarled through, though his eyes were sparkling with amusement. Who are you calling filthy? Thunder retorted. Lightning Tail batted at him with his claws sheathed, and Thunder immediately fell to the ground and rolled over. Got you! Lightning Tail exclaimed. You must find it so hard, being so big and all. Don't you trip over those massive paws? Try me! Thunder meowed. As Lightning Tail leaped at him, Thunder brought up his hind legs as Holly had shown them, and gave Lightning Tail a hard blow in his chest, throwing him to the ground. While Lightning Tail was struggling to get up, Thunder launched himself onto his back. See? He growled into his friend's ear. I can move as fast as any cat. He leaped away, and Lightning Tail gave his pelt a shake, panting hard and scattering the bits of debris that clung to his fur. While he was recovering, Thunder glanced around to see that Greywing was sparring with Tall Shadow, and Mousehare was training with Pebbleheart. Mousehare is trying too hard not to hurt him, Thunder thought. They'll never get the move right that way. Before he could make any suggestions, Pebbleheart let out a wail of distress. Mousehare sprang back, his eyes wide with alarm. I didn't touch him! he exclaimed as all the cats raced over to see what was happening. Then Thunder noticed Mudpaw. He had been standing nearby, watching the other cats train. But now he was crouched over something small on the ground, his whiskers trembling. Curious, Thunder padded up to him and saw that he was staring at the body of a mouse. What? Ew, what? Thunder noticed Mudpaws. He'd been standing nearby watching the other cats train, but now he was crouched over something small on the ground, his whiskers trembling. Curious, Thunder padded up to him and saw he was staring at the body of a mouse. So Pebbleheart just screamed, but Mudpaw was doing something? Owl Eyes padded up, then halted, clawing at the ground with anxiety. Pebbleheart, do you know what's wrong? He asked. Pebbleheart crept up, his pelt fluffed up with apprehension, and Thunder realized that the small cat had sensed something amiss before any cat had spotted the mouse. He gave the body a quick sniff, then backed away again, his eyes wide and scared. Thunder peered over Pebbleheart's shoulder, examining the body closely for the first time. The mouse's belly was horribly swollen, and there were flecks of white foam around its mouth. Ew. Its eyes, open wide in death, were oozing pus, and there was an open sore on its tail. Get back, all of you, Thunder ordered. Sickness, Pebbleheart murmured, looking up at him. Sickness too powerful for healing herbs. Thunder nodded. Go back to the hollow, he told the other cats, who had retreated a few paw steps and stood waiting with bristling fur and quivering whiskers. Greywing and I will dispose of the mouse and warn the others not to eat any prey that looks like this, he called after them as they turned to go. Have you ever seen this sort of thing before? Thunder asked with a questioning glance at Greywing. Greywing shook his head. Never. Not even in the mountains, he replied. We need to get rid of this prey to make sure no cat eats it. No, don't touch it, he added as Thunder stretched out a paw. Together the two cats collected fallen leaves from the thorn trees and wrapped them around the mouse, careful not to let their paws come in contact with its corpse. Then, still with the greatest care, they rolled it towards a pile of rocks. Thunder wrinkled his nose at the faint stench that rose from the dead animal. What is that? He muttered. It's worse than the smell of death. At last, Thunder and Greywing managed to shove the mouse's body into a crack between two rocks, and piled more and more pebbles on top of it until the stench was gone. Done! Greywing exclaimed, settling back on his haunches. And now we'd better find a stream to wash our paws in, just in case. He let out a long sigh. This is not a good sign. Oh no! There's a sickness in the mice. Oh no! My nose is itchy. What a delight. My nose is really itchy. Also, why is my voice sound so weird today? Ugh. It's like, oh, is it kind of clear now? No. I tried to cough it away, but it's like something thick is in there. Too thick to cough away. Too high up in my throat. Suspicious. Okay. Chapter 8. When they returned to the hollow, Greywing found the other cats anxiously waiting for them. He leaped onto the rock beside Tall Shadow and told his den-mates about the mouse they'd found and how he and Thunder had disposed of it. What are we gonna do? Windrunner asked, encircling her kits with her tail and drawing them protectively towards her. What if there are more sick mice? In the midst of his worry, Greywing couldn't help thinking about how much Windrunner had changed. Ever since one of her litter, Emberkit, had died soon after being born, she had been extra careful with the others. And who could blame her? But that wasn't the only change. Since the battle, she had been more reserved, and Greywing wondered whether her ambitions for leadership had waned, or whether they had simply changed direction. She's more focused on Gorsfer and the kits now, he thought, instead of trying to tell other cats what to do. We have to be on our guard while we're hunting, Tall Shadow replied. If there's any chance that the prey is ill, you mustn't attack, and certainly don't bring anything doubtful back into the camp. Why do we have to be so cautious? Mudpaws asked. Tall Shadow leaned closer to Greywing, murmuring into his ear, Should we tell the 3 newcomers about the spirit cats? Would they even believe us? Greywing wasn't sure. They say they saw the battle. I don't know what else they saw. I know that we don't want to fight them with stories like ghost cats and messages from the sky, he responded. But I trust them, and sooner or later, some cat will tell them anyway. I think we should share what we know with them. Yo, these cats are gonna walk out. Tall Shadow hesitated briefly, then gave a nod. We recently received a warning, Greywing began, clearing his throat. Instantly, Holly leaped to her paws. What kind of warning? She demanded. If it was from that nasty cat, One-Eye, No, Greywing interrupted. It was from some distant friends. Do you mean traveling cats? Mousiear asked, sounding puzzled. Not exactly, Greywing mewed. These cats are going to think I have bees in my brain. It's complicated, he went on, eager to get to the end of the explanation as quickly as possible. Just after the battle, before we met you, the spirits of the cats who died appeared to us. A squeak of amazement came from Sparrowfur. She and her 2 littermates hadn't been in the battle, or the later meeting, and now they were drinking in every word Greywing spoke, their eyes wide and excited. Spirit cats? Mudpaw gaped with astonishment, exchanging glances with his 2 friends. Are you sure they weren't, a bit confused after all that fighting? Greywing shook his head. Every cat who was there saw them and heard them. The spirit cats told us to unite or die. Ben, hello, welcome! Thank you for the follow, Raja! I love how you are now the king/queen of our reading realm. They also told us to meet them again by the 4 trees at the next full moon. Have I started yet? Yeah, I've been reading. So that's where you all went the other night, Holly meowed. I thought you'd just gone out on patrol. Yes, Greywing continued. Perhaps we should have told you, but we saw the spirit cats again, and that's when they gave us the warning. They told us that a claw still blights the forest. It's Tom and One-Eye. To survive, we must grow and spread like the burning star. Holly let out a snort of disgust. Your spirit friends certainly like being vague, don't they? She mewed tartly. What in the world is that message supposed to mean? The claw might be the sickness that killed the mouse, Cloudspots murmured thoughtfully. And the blazing star, Mousiear repeated. Isn't that some kind of 5-petaled plant? What plant? Greywing asked. Where? His voice was drowned out as excitement flared up among the listening cats at Mousier's suggestion, and they crowded around, eagerly offering their own ideas. I think it means we should go back to the mountains, Tall Shadow meowed. A plant like that grows there. What? Greywing stared at the black she-cat, hardly able to believe he had heard the words from her. After all we've been through! But he had no chance to object, because all his denmates were calling out their own explanations. I think it means we should follow a shooting star to a new territory, Owl Eyes squealed, jumping up and down in excitement. His sister, Sparrowfur, gave him a shove. When was the last time we saw a shooting star, Mousebrain? A blaze, Windrunner murmured anxiously. I'm afraid that might mean another fire somewhere. We could end up racing away from it, splitting up forever. Bending over her kits, she drew them closer, covering their ears with licks. Whatever comes, we'll stay together. Horsefur pressed himself to her side. Oh, wait. I messed up those sentences. It's fine, though. Wait! Jagged Peak added, his voice to the raising clamor. Maybe it has to do with the plant Mouseier just mentioned. He said it had 5 petals, right? I think I remember seeing it in the mountains too. Maybe we need to divide into... That's enough, Greywing interrupted, becoming flustered by all the different ideas. Have you all been quietly hatching your own explanations? You haven't been discussing this with any other cat at all? No wonder you're coming to such ridiculous conclusions. Aw. The other cats went silent, looking up at him with disconcerted expressions, as if they didn't know what was making him so irritable. Jagged Peak, in particular, looked hurt. Well, I'm sorry, Greywing thought, but they have to learn that panic and wild speculation will get us nowhere. What do you mean? What do you think the blazing star and claw on the moon means? I feel like it's like... Claw on the moon? I don't even know what that means. Maybe it's... What's the opposite of an eclipse? I forget what the opposite of an eclipse. The blight thing. Oh my god, what is wrong with my throat? Can you hear it? I sound so weird. Or the impending doom. I don't know what the words were either. I can't remember. Something about a claw. And the blazing star. I don't know what it would mean right now. I need more info. We all need to calm down, he meowed. Now, Mouseier, where exactly is this plant, the blazing star, growing? If we can find it and bring it back to camp, maybe it'll give us a clue about what the spirit cats were telling us. One thing at a time, okay? The cats muttered their agreement, though Greywing could see that they still weren't happy with him. But that's fine, as long as we can work this out. We found the blazing star growing on the other side of the thunder path, Mouseier told the others. You mean we've got to cross it? Cross it? Shattered Ice asked doubtfully. I don't like the sound of that. Greywing didn't like it either, remembering the problems they had experienced during their journey, including the death of Shaded Moss under the paws of a monster. We used to go across all the time, Mudpaws mewed reassuringly. It's not dangerous if you know how. I think we should give it a try, Tall Shadow decided. I'm willing to lead a patrol over there and bring some of the plant back. Renewed excitement stirred among the cats now that they had a plan, but Greywing saw that Jagged Peak was still looking hurt. A brief pang of guilt clawed at him. He hadn't allowed Jagged Peak to express his idea. I still treat him like the careless kit I left the mountains to chase, he thought. Maybe I need to start taking him more seriously. Holly leaned towards Jagged Peak and whispered something in his ear. Jagged Peak's eyes widened and he let out a meow of laughter. Holly managed to cheer him up. Greywing thought, impressed in spite of himself. She's good for Jagged Peak. There's no denying it. I just hope she doesn't push him too far. Push him where? Chapter 9. Tall Shadow narrowed her eyes as she glanced up at the sun. If we go now, we should make it back before nightfall, she meowed. The days are getting shorter. Thunder's pads prickled with dread, and the nights are getting colder. Soon Leafbear will be upon us. But he pushed the thought away. Around him, his den mates were like a nest of bees buzzing with curiosity. Come on, Dapplepelt meowed eagerly. We've got to find this plant right away. Yes, I'm sure it's the answer, Gorsefur agreed. Cloudspots nodded thoughtfully. It might even protect us against the sickness. Okay, let's go. Tall Shadow beckoned Mudpaws, Holly, and Mouseier with a wave of her tail. Thunder found them as they climbed the slope out of the hollow and realized that most of his den mates were crowding after him. Tall Shadow halted and turned to face them. Wait a moment. Her voice was frustrated and her tail tip twitched. Not every cat can come. We can't leave the camp unprotected, can we? And how many cats does it take to pick a flower? Why can't we come? Shattered Ice asked. Immediately, arguments started to break out. Some cats agreeing with Tall Shadow that only a small patrol was needed, while others were insistent on their right to join in. That's enough, Thunder meowed, stepping forward. I'll go with Tall Shadow, he continued decisively, and we'll need at least one of our new members to show us the way. Holly, Mudpaws, and Mouseier glanced at one another. I don't mind staying, Holly murmured. Okay, I'll go, Mouseier offered. Perhaps I should go too, Greywing added, padding up to Thunder's side. Thunder turned to his kin, and noticing the signs of strain and weariness on the older cat's face. No, you stay and rest, he meowed. It's been a long day, and you're not really needed for this. He saw sadness flash into Greywing's eyes and quickly added, Besides, a reliable cat should be left in charge of the camp. A cat we can all trust. Greywing looked unconvinced, but dipped his head in agreement. Very well, he mewed, turning away before Thunder could say any more. Realizing there was no more he could do to reassure Greywing, Thunder headed after Tall Shadow, only to find Pebbleheart blocking his way. I want to go, the kit pleaded, his eyes wide and anxious. I know herbs, and maybe I can help. I know, got a taste of how he treats Jagged Peak, like, it's okay, old man. You'll be better help here. Poor guy. Poor cats. Thunder's first instinct was to refuse. We don't want kids distracting us. But then he reminded himself that Pebbleheart was no ordinary kit. There must be a special reason that he wants to come. Thunder glanced at Greywing, who gave a nod. He turned back to Pebbleheart. If Greywing thinks it's a good idea, you can join us. Mouseier took the lead as the cats loped in silence across the moor, heading for the forest near the edge of the two-leg place. Thunder kept an eye on Pebbleheart to make sure that the kit didn't fall behind. He's so serious, so watchful. Why did he want to come on this trip? I know Greywing says he has dreams. Do many rogues live on the other side of the Thunder Path, where the blazing star grows? Tall Shadow asked Mouseier as they reached the edge of the forest. Not many, Mouseier replied. It's wet and marshy over there, and few cats enjoy the feeling of mud on their paws. Not even Mudpaws, he added with a snort of laughter. But you must have been... Tall Shadow began, only to break off, as a bundle of mangy fur erupted from a pile of dead leaves and... What? As a bundle of mangy fur erupted from a pile of dead leaves and brush, hurling itself on top of Thunder, striking out to claw him across the nose. I saw it first, a raspy voice meowed. Thunder recoiled, stunned at the speed of the attack, and swiped the paw over his stinging snout. When he recovered, he saw One Eye standing in front of him, his tail lashing and his lips drawn back in a snarl. A dead bird lay at his paws. We're supposed to be at peace, Thunder snapped, sliding his claws, and braced himself for another attack. I didn't even see a wretched bird. One Eye took a threatening pace forward. Get back! The shrill screech came from Pebbleheart. Every cat, get back! A thrill of fear ran through Thunder at the urgency of the kit's voice. For the first time he looked closely at the bird and saw that its belly was swollen and some of its feathers were missing. Dried pus crusted the areas of exposed skin. Stop! Pebbleheart squealed as One Eye stepped forward, about to sink his teeth into the prey. Thunder sprang forward, barreling into the mangy Tom, driving him back from the bird. One Eye fought back hard, digging his teeth into Thunder's neck. Get off! Thunder mewed through gritted teeth. I'm trying to save your miserable pelt! He flung One Eye away, then pinned him down with both forepaws on his chest. The Tom glared up at him with hatred in his one eye. At last Tall Shadow realized what had frightened Pebbleheart. The bird is sick, she yowled. Every cat stay away. While she was speaking, the undergrowth parted a few fox lengths away, and Clear Sky appeared, followed by Petal and the two kits, Birch and Alder. One Eye, what's going on here? He asked with a rapid glance around at the other cats. Thunder stepped back, allowing One Eye to get up, seeing recognition and then fear creep into his eyes as he surveyed the dead bird. Nothing, the rogue muttered, not meeting Clear Sky's gaze. I'm not letting him get away with that, Thunder thought. Clearing his throat, he dipped his head towards his father. Actually, he began, One Eye attacked me for getting close to his kill. I fought him off because the bird is sick. Whatever he says, I was trying to help. Clear Sky narrowed his eyes. Sick? Yes, it... Thunder broke off as the two kits bounded forward to peer curiously at the bird. No! He went on sharply, pushing them away with a gentle paw. Stay back. But Birch dodged around him, stretched out his neck and touched the dead bird with his nose. Oh my god, he's gonna die. Yuck! He exclaimed, his curiosity changing to disgust as he backed away. It smells foul. Thunder let out a sigh and glanced at Clear Sky, who beckoned the kits with a jerk of his head. Get back here now, he mewed commandingly. There was concern in his eyes, which surprised Thunder. It looked as if he hadn't seen a look. It was a look he hadn't seen from his father when he was a kit who needed him. He tried not to feel envious that Clear Sky cared for kits who weren't even his own. The two kits bounced back to Petal, who gathered them close with their tail and licked their ears affectionately. Clear Sky padded forward and gave the bird a careful inspection, looking just as disgusted as the other cats. You've been in the forest for a long time, he said to Owl Eye. Have you seen this illness before? One Eye twitched his ears. It's just a sickness, he replied. Sickness is part of life in the wild. Thunder could see that Clear Sky wasn't satisfied with One Eye's answer. His eyes looked apprehensive as he glanced back at the kits. Then he turned back towards the moorland cats. What brings you here? He asked. Tall Shadow stepped forward. We found out something about the blazing star, she explained. It is a plant that grows on the other side of the thunder path, and we're going to get some to see if it will help us to understand what the spirit cats meant. Clear Sky's whiskers quivered in annoyance. You got us a clue as to what the message meant, and you weren't going to tell me? Aren't we all in this together? Unite or die, remember? Shame swept over Thunder as his father spoke. He could see that Tall Shadow felt the same. How could it not have occurred to any cat to tell Clear Sky what they had discovered? We never meant to keep it from you, she assured Clear Sky. We were just working quickly. But you're right. We should find the blazing star together. Clear Sky gave a grim nod, obviously not appeased by the black she-cat's word. Petal, take the kits back to camp, he ordered. One Eye, you go too. Petal turned away, leading her kits back into the undergrowth, but One Eye stood still, bristling. I should come with you, he insisted. You can't shoo me back to camp like some mewling kit. You're not needed here, Clear Sky meowed firmly, and part of living in a group is knowing your place. Do you understand, One Eye? Thunder was suddenly aware that the air was thickening with tension as the two Toms faced each other. The mangy rogue's single eye burned with hatred, and Thunder could tell from Clear Sky's tight voice and rigid stance that he wasn't confident, in spite of his show of authority. But Clear Sky's gaze never wavered, and at last One Eye took a few paces back towards the camp. Thunder hoped that the confrontation was over, but as he and the others were turning to leave, One Eye halted and looked back over his shoulder. There's not much you can do to keep me from following, he hissed. I may have only one eye, but it sees everything. Jesus. Before Clear Sky could respond, One Eye turned away again and vanished into the undergrowth. For a moment, Clear Sky seemed lost for words. Then Tall Shadow padded up to him and brushed her pelt against his. We better get going, she mewed. Daylight is short. She took the lead again as they headed towards the thunder path. Mousiear walked beside Clear Sky while Thunder brought up the rear with Pebbleheart, who still looked uneasy. Are you okay? Thunder murmured. The kit nodded. I'm fine. I'm just worried about what is happening to the forest. So are we all, Thunder thought. Before they had gone many paw steps. Thank you for the follow, Hoagies! Is that a magical creature? Apparently. Before they got many paw steps, Mousiear turned to Clear Sky. Now you must see what a mistake it was to let One Eye join your group, he meowed bluntly. Clear Sky glared at him, the fur on his shoulders beginning to fluff up. I see no such thing, he retorted. One Eye may be a bit strong-willed, but it will just take time for such an independent cat to adjust to living with many other cats. Thunder could see the uncertainty in his father's eyes as he added with a show of confidence, One Eye has given us invaluable fighting techniques, and that's what matters. Hi, Sky! Tall Shadow, who I'd glanced back to listen to the exchange, had a knowing look in her eyes, but all she said was, "No more talking. We have got to get a move on if we want to get across the Thunderpath and back before it gets dark." Already Thunder could pick up the astrid tang of monsters among the forest scents, and before long they emerged from the trees and stood on the narrow strip of grass that bordered the hard, black stone. A dead ash tree leaned over the grass, surrounded by a thicket of brambles. Tall Shadow glanced carefully in both directions. "Okay, Thunder," she mewed. "You go across first." "Wait!" Mouseier flicked his tail to halt Thunder. "You haven't felt the Thunderpath yet." Tall Shadow gave him a puzzled look. "What do you mean?" "Like this." Mouseier cautiously placed one paw on the black surface and twitched his ears. "No rumbles," he reported. "It's safe for all of us to cross." Thunder exchanged a surprised glance with Tall Shadow and Clear Sky. "Suppose there's a lot we can learn from the rogues," Clear Sky commented. "So let's do it," Mouseier urged, tapping his paw impatiently. "The monsters won't wait for us forever." Without hesitation, he bounded across the Thunderpath, with Tall Shadow and Clear Sky hard on his paws. Thunder noticed that Pebbleheart was looking apprehensive and touched him reassuringly on the shoulder with his tail tip. "Come on," he encouraged the kit. "We'll cross together." Pebbleheart looked up at him, eyes wide. "I never thought a Thunderpath could be so big. It's nothing like the ones in the two-leg place. So you'll have a great story to tell Sparrowfur and Owl Eyes," Thunder responded. Taking a deep breath, the kit sprang forward. Thunder kept pace with him, and the two of them arrived safely beside Tall Shadow and the others. A moment later, a monster swept past, its unnaturally bright red pelt glistening in the sun. "Monsters can go that fast?" Pebbleheart exclaimed, his chest swelling with pride now that he had made the crossing. "Amazing!" Mouseier took up the lead again as the cats headed away from the Thunderpath. Thunder began to pick up a different scent of mud and water and rich growing things. His nose twitched. That must be the marsh. Give me the Mora forest any day. Eventually, Mouseier halted at the top of a shallow slope that led down to a wide stretch of stagnant water dotted with bussocks of grass. Clumps of reeds clattered together as they swayed in the breeze. A dragonfly hovered above the surface of the water, its body bright, iridescent blue. As Thunder watched, a frog leap from the bank nearby with a loud plop. Ripples spread out from the spot where it disappeared. Tall Shadow was gazing across the marsh too, looking transfixed. A faint purr came from her throat. Mouseier had to prod her to get her attention. "Oh." "Is this Shadow Clan territory? Is Tall Shadow going to branch off into Shadow Clan?" "I don't know." "She's so happy." "Maybe. Mayhaps. I thought it was a ruse. A ruse." "This is what we've been looking for," he told her, pointing with one paw to a spot a little way up the slope. Eagerly, Thunder joined Tall Shadow and Clear Sky around the plant. "Oh, is that it?" he asked, slightly disappointed. The blazing star was smaller than he had expected, with spiky leaves and yellow flowers whose 5 petals spread out separately. It didn't seem important enough to be the answer to the Spirit Cat's riddle. "It's just a small yellow flower shaped like a star," Tall Shadow murmured. "It looks like a paw with claws extended," Clear Sky commented, holding up his own paw to demonstrate. "Perhaps the Spirit Cats meant that we need to fight to defend our territory from—" He left the thought unfinished. "From who?" Mouseier asked, his challenging tone attracting the gaze of every cat. Tall Shadow shook her head. "The Spirit Cats did not tell us to fight. They said we should grow and spread like the blazing star." She thought for a moment, and then added, "Oh! Spread like the blazing star! She has to make the 4th clan! In the Shadow Clan territory! I get it. They have to spread and grow like the blazing star, and that's where the blazing star is." She thought for a moment, then added, "All these flowers bend towards the sun. Perhaps they meant that we should follow the sun? Move again, follow the sun even further than before?" "No," Clear Sky meowed with a whisk of his tail. "We've made that journey already. I believe this is where we're supposed to be." Thunder stared thoughtfully at the flower, waiting for an explanation to occur to him. Why couldn't the spirit cats be more clearer? "What do you think, Thunder?" Clear Sky asked him. Thunder couldn't deny a secret spring of satisfaction growing in his chest, like water bubbling up between rocks. "My father wants my advice! How far we've come!" "I'm not sure," he replied, unable to stop staring at the flower. Petals spread from the center, each pointing in a different direction. While he was still pondering, Thunder remembered Pebbleheart's presence. The kit was so quiet and serious that it was easy to forget he was there. "Do you have any ideas?" he asked, turning to Pebbleheart. The little Tom stared for a heartbeat longer, then backed away. I don't know," he stammered. But he wouldn't meet Thunder's gaze, and Thunder guessed he wasn't telling him the full story. "I think things are about to change," Pebbleheart added in a small voice. Tall Shadow's whiskers drooped. "It's time to go," she meowed. "Sunset is almost here." She bent her head and bit off a stem with 2 or 3 flowers on it. "I'll take this back to see if it gives any of the others some ideas." Clear Sky nodded approvingly. "I'll take some too." He bit off one stem, then after a heartbeat's pause, picked another. "And I'll take this to River Ripple." "Oh, that's so nice of him!" "I should have thought of that." Thunder was annoyed with himself. "We're not doing a very good job at being united if we forgot to tell Clear Sky or River Ripple about important stuff." Clear Sky took the lead as the patrol headed back towards the Thunder Path. This time, they all stood back to let Mousier rest his paw on the black surface. "Better wait," he warned them. "There's a monster coming." Thunder looked up and down the Thunder Path, but he couldn't see any traces of a monster. I wonder if this is some crazy rogue superstition? As he waited, he noticed that Tall Shadow was gazing back towards the marsh, a faraway look in her eyes. "Aww." "Tall Shadow, are you okay?" he asked. The black she-cat looked startled, almost as if Thunder had caught her doing something wrong. "What are you looking at?" he asked. Tall Shadow glanced back at the marsh, her tail curled up happily. "It's just so beautiful here," she purred. "Aww." "Beautiful? Has she got bees in her brain?" Thunder couldn't place the uncomfortable feeling that Tall Shadow's words gave him. He glanced at Pebbleheart to see how he felt about it, but once again the kit wouldn't meet his gaze. A distant roar, growing rapidly louder, distracted Thunder. Looking along the Thunder Path, he saw a huge monster bearing down on them on massive black paws. The rattle and rumple of its passing seemed to shake his bones. Wind buffeted his fur and almost carried them off their paws. Thunder glanced at Mousier, impressed. He's not crazy after all. Once the monster had passed, Mousier tested the surface again, then gave a satisfied nod. "We can cross now," he mewed. "It's safe." All 5 cats ran quickly across the Thunder Path. Once they reached the opposite side, Clear Sky dipped his head to the moorland cats. "Goodbye for now," he murmured politely. "I'll be sure to let you know if we come up with any ideas about the blazing star." Thunder called out a farewell as his father disappeared among the trees, then followed Tall Shadow as she headed back to their camp. Pebbleheart, growing tired now, lagged behind. Mousier's words repeated themselves in Thunder's mind as they crossed the moor. "We're safe. But for how long?" "Hi, Foxy Mora." I'm going to say Maroon because I don't want to call you that. Like an oxymoron. Ha ha. Oh, I get it. Like oxymoron, foxymoron. Oh. Oh my god, that is clever. Snickle Fritz figured it out before me. Your name's as clever as a cat's pounce. I get it. I'm dumb. Dumb compared to Snickle Fritz. Okay, chapter 10. Hopefully my voice will keep up. I can feel it. I can feel it starting to slip. Chapter 10. The sun shone, but wind whistled through the branches of the trees, swirling dead leaves around clear sky. He sat on a hillock in a forest clearing, watching One Eye and Tom. They had gathered some of the other cats to train them in battle techniques. Nono play Anna, Dream, Barbecue, and My Voice Is Yours. Whoa. Let's Anna, Dream, BBQ. You said voice and I got it. Got weird. My life. My voice is yours. My life is yours. Both. Both are mine. Wahaha. They'd gathered some of the other Quick, Water! Have you gone to sleep? The former rogue snarled. And you, Leaf, you're as slow as a dying snail. One Eye is harsh, Clear Sky thought, watching him give the unfortunate Leaf a cuff around the ear. But he certainly can fight. Clear Sky and One Eye had never spoken again of the argument they had in front of Thunder and Tall Shadow. Clear Sky didn't know for sure whether the rogue had followed him across the thunder path to the blazing star. I saw no sign that he did, Clear Sky tried to reassure himself, but I wouldn't put it past him. One Eye's challenge to his authority still rankled, although he kept telling himself what he had told Mouseier. It would take time for a lifelong rogue like One Eye to learn the rules of group living. Some flare-ups and squabbles were only natural, but if it happens again... Focusing on the training, Clear Sky knew he couldn't argue with one fact. One Eye fought very sneakily, with techniques and tricks that Clear Sky himself had never dreamed of. Tom, too, was losing his kitty pet softness and learning to use his claws. And kitty pet or not, he was full of ideas on how to trick his opponent and defeat them. Now watch this, One Eye meowed, facing Thorn. Fighting is about winning, right? And to win, you need to distract your enemy. Thorn, I'm coming at you. Fight me off! Thorn braced himself, letting out a fierce growl. One Eye crouched low to the ground and leaped forward as if he was aiming for Thorn's neck. Thorn instinctively brought up his paws to fend him off. Swift as a striking snake, One Eye ducked underneath his legs and pushed him over, raking his paws across Thorn's soft belly. Then he stood back, waiting for the disconcerted Tom to stand up again. If I'd been using my claws, One Eye rasped, your belly would have been torn open. Tom clearly didn't know how to respond to this. One Eye let out an amused snort. Next time, you will know what to do. Thorn nodded, while nervous meows of laughter came from the other cats who had watched the move. Clear Sky twitched his tail in satisfaction. One Eye and Tom were giving his cats an advantage in battle that no other group would have. That will matter someday, he realized. None of his cats had been able to decide what the blazing star meant, and the future was still as dark to them as ever. But whatever the coming seasons held, being a skilled fighter could save a cat's life. Not in battle, he reminded himself, feeling slightly nauseous at the terrible memory. Not unless we have no other choice. Seeing you speak in normal voices. Is this a normal voice? My voice is messed up because it's like sick voice right now. So I don't think any voice right now is a normal voice. Where was I? What about hidden weapons? Tom asked, stepping up beside One Eye. The old rogue turned to him with an enthusiastic swish of his tail. Yes, good thinking. In a forest like this, no cat needs to rely just on their claws and teeth. There are a lot of things that can inflict pain. Tom, why don't you go and look for a rock with a sharp edge? Tom immediately whipped around and raced into the trees, his tail streaming out behind him. Clear Sky was impressed. Never thought of using rocks in battle. Okay. One Eye turned back to the other cats. Pair up, and I want to see you practicing that neck feint. Concentrate on speed. No claws. For now. Bald 40-year-old smoker man. Where was I? But before the training exercise could begin, a small cat emerged from the undergrowth at the edge of the clearing and ran towards the group. Startled, Clear Sky peered at the little tortoise shell and recognized Sparrow Fur, one of Turtletail's kits who Greywing was raising. She had grown since he first saw her in Greywing's camp after the forest fire, and even since Tom took her, he added to himself, still feeling guilty for not recognizing her then. "Are you doing fight training?" she asked eagerly as she pattered up to One Eye. "I came looking for Tom. He's my father, you know. He was just here. Where did he go?" When no cat responded, she added, "Can I train with you? I think I'm a pretty good fighter, but there's always more to learn, isn't there?" Without warning, One Eye pounced in front of Sparrowfur, pushing one paw into her forehead. "Ow!" Sparrowfur yowled. "You don't have to use claws." One Eye didn't move.
"I don't know you," he told her in a low snarl, "and that makes you my enemy."
"I'm not," Sparrowfur protested. "Tom's my father, and can you put your claws away, please? You're hurting me."
"If you love your father so much," One Eye replied calmly, "then you should come and join him in this group, shouldn't you? Until you do, you can't be one of us."
Clear Sky shifted his weight on the hillock, feeling a prickle of uncertainty in his pelt. The ghost cats had told them, unite or die. We aren't supposed to fight over territory anymore, he thought. But then he reflected that, in a way, One Eye was right. There were reasons that his group and the group on the Moorland Hollow had stayed separate. And why should we share battle techniques with an outsider? No cat knows who our next enemy will be. "You're not uniting! You're not uniting!" Narrowing his eyes, he settled down on the hillock again to see how this encounter would play out. Sparrowfur's pelt was bristling in anger, and she arched her back. "You can't keep me from seeing my father," she meowed. "I'm not leaving until he comes back." She swiped at One Eye's nose with her claws. The rogue easily dodged the blow.
"Either you leave or you can fight me," he rasped. "Prove you're serious by taking me down. If you can stay." "If you can beat me, a seasoned fighter, then you can stay."
All right. "I'm a very good fighter," Sparrowfur retorted. "I fight with my brothers all the time."
"I'm no kin of yours," One Eye mewed darkly. "Whether you survive this fight is no concern of mine. So will you leave or fight?"
"Don't kill her!" Clear Sky could see the kit's frustration and uncertainty in her fluffed up fur and twitching tail. I know how she feels. She can't understand why a grown cat would be this mean to her. "All right," Sparrowfur agreed, raising her head bravely. If I have to prove how much I need to see my father, I will fight you."
"This is going too far," Clear Sky decided. Raising to his paws, he cleared his throat.
One Eye turned and gazed up at him, dark amusement smoldering in his eyes.
"The kits who live in these groups are so sheltered," he began. "In the wild, kits learn from birth how the real world works. If you challenge a cat, you must fight him. And if you made a mistake in challenging him, you learn."
Clear Sky could understand the logic of what One Eye was saying. Sparrowfur is a feisty little thing, maybe too feisty for her own good. But his pelt still prickled uncomfortably, and he was not sure why he felt that way. Has the forced peace of the last moon made me gone soft? Or is it because she's sort of my brother's kin that I want to protect her? At last, Clear Sky decided that One Eye was right. It was just for that kind of blunt, unattractive wisdom that he had allowed the rogue to join his group. Sparrowfur won't be forever harmed by a few scratches. Boy, I don't think One Eye's gonna leave a few scratches on her. I think he's gonna pound her into the ground and then she's gonna die. Nodding his head, he allowed the fight to begin. Instantly, Sparrowfur hurled herself at One Eye, getting in a couple of stinging blows along his ears. Clear Sky stifled a roar of laughter. Maybe she was right to challenge the old rogue. Perhaps she's a born fighter. But within a heartbeat, the fight changed. I wonder why. When I swiped the little tortoiseshell across the shoulder, Clear Sky could see blood welling from the scratches as Sparrowfur staggered and fell. When I glanced across at Clear Sky and gave him a nod, Clear Sky understood. He's just teaching her a lesson. He'll back down now. Every hair on Clear Sky's pelt was urging him to run down from the hillock and break up the fight. but he forced himself to stay where he was. One-Eye took a step back from the kit, lashing his tail as if challenging her to get up. Sparrowfur struggled to her paws. She was certainly in pain, clearly in pain, but she glared steadily at the rogue with a fire in her eyes. She's just like her mother, Clear Sky thought, remembering Turtletail in the mountains, determined to the last. Breath? Breath? Is that what you want to say, Clear Sky? With a howl of anger, the kit leaped at One-Eye, sinking her claws into his neck and back. Her hind paws barely touched the ground, and she bit hard into his pelt and scrambled to claw at his remaining eye. I want to see my father, she yowled. Clear Sky could see the change come over the rogue cat in stiffening limbs and bristling pelt, but his own paws felt frozen to the hilltop, as if he was seeing with some kind of dark dream. Oh my god. When I threw the kid off his back effortlessly, then pounced on top of her. He dug his teeth into her flank and twisted his head, tearing at her flesh. Sparrowfur let out a wail, her soft, small paws batting helplessly at her attacker. Without mercy, One-Eye rolled her onto her back and tore into her white belly fur. Jesus Christ. The other cats stood around watching, their eyes wide with horror, but clearly not daring to intervene because their leader had allowed the fight. Acornfur and Quickwater looked particularly distressed, both she-cats turning a pleading gaze towards Clear Sky. Stunned at the vicious attack, Clear Sky realized the rogue was about to kill the kit to teach her a lesson. And I am not letting this happen. I thought this was about cute kitties. I mean, they are cute and dying. At last he forced his paws to move, hurling down from the hillock and racing across the clearing. Stop! He yowled. One-Eye raised his head, baring teeth that were stained with Sparrowfur's blood. One paw still pinned down her feeble twitching body. With horror, Clear Sky realized that he was too late? He was not going to reach Sparrowfur before One-Eye dealt the killing blow. But at the same moment, an orange blur came flying out of the trees and leapt on top of One-Eye, knocking him several paces away and digging claws into the side of his head. One-Eye screeched in protest. Oh, snap. Tom! Relief washed over Clear Sky as he recognized the former kitty pet. Leave her alone! Tom growled, attacking One-Eye in a whirl of teeth and claws. She's my kit! Unfortunate that Tom saved her, because now she's gonna put him on a pedestal. Very sad. The two cats rolled over together on the ground, their paws locked around each other's bodies, their jaws snapping. Clear Sky hardly spared them a glance. He halted beside Sparrowfur, who lay bleeding in the grass where One-Eye had left her. His belly heaved with a mixture of revulsion and pity. The tortoiseshell kit was unconscious, her chest barely moving to show that she was still alive. Terrible wounds gaped in her flanks and belly. Jesus Christ. I don't know, this book seems pretty popular there, but no one talks about it in my country for some reason, so I didn't really know it was that dark. It is very dark. It's like a soap opera for kids. Lots of fighting and gore and killing. A helpless kid, Clear Sky thought, guilt surging through him like a storm water. What was I thinking? Desperately, he turned towards the other cats who were still watching, transfixed with horror. I need help, he mewed, his voice shaking. Please, we need cobwebs to stop the bleeding. Instantly, the cats scattered into the undergrowth. Clear Sky felt a brief glow of gratitude that they didn't turn their backs on him after they had watched him allow an unequal fight to happen. But a heartbeat later, he pushed the feeling away. That's not important now. What matters is saving Sparrowfur. Clear Sky was vaguely aware that Tom and One-Eye were still fighting somewhere on the other side of the clearing, but he couldn't bring himself to care. All his attention was on the injured kit. Acornfur was the first cat to return with a thick paw full of cobwebs. She bent over her former denmate, gently licking the blood away from her wounds and pressing the cobwebs over them. They quickly soaked with blood, but when the other cats returned with more cobwebs, the bleeding was gradually brought under control. Sparrowfur's breathing grew deeper and more regular, though she didn't open her eyes. Will she be okay now? Acornfur asked anxiously. Clear Sky heaved a huge sigh of relief. I hope so, he replied. But we need to get her back to camp and care for her. He realized that the hissing and screeching from Tom and One-Eye had died away to silence. Good, the fight's over, he thought.
Now I can deal with them both. But when he glanced across at the other side of the clearing, his jaws gaped in shock. Tom lay with his legs splayed out and his eyes wide in a fixed stare. Blood clotted in his fur on the grass around him. When I sat beside him, calmly licking his paws and cleaning blood off his whiskers. He fought well, he meowed, for a kitty pet. Bro, get One Eye out of here! Oh my god. Clear Sky heard gasps of horror from the other cats, feeling as though all the blood in his veins had turned to ice. Oh no, Thorn muttered, sounding sick. Tom didn't deserve to die like that. He was only defending his kit, Acorn Fur whispered. With a massive effort, Clear Sky pulled himself together and gave his pelt a shake. Carry Sparrow Fur back to camp as quickly as you can, he ordered. Treat her like you would your own kit, and one of you should run ahead and tell Petal to make a soft nest out of moss. Acorn Fur raced off at once, while Thorn and Tom... Bro. We hit 20 deaths! Yay, 20 deaths! Give it up for 20 deaths! Acorn Fur raced off at once, while Thorn and Leaf gently picked up Sparrow Fur's body, careful not to dislodge the cobwebs over her wounds. As they headed into the trees, Quickwater padded just in front of them, carefully holding back branches and bramble tendrils so that they didn't catch on the kit's pelt. Once they had gone, Clear Sky slowly padded across the clearing towards One Eye, who was still grooming himself, his gaze firmly fixed on his paw. Clear Sky halted a few paw steps in front of the rogue, then discovered that he had no idea what he wanted to say. What? He managed to stammer. One Eye looked up at him, the fur around his mouth spiky with drying blood. Stupid kitty pet, he rasped, his voice filled with contempt. You should have known better than to challenge me. I've killed much tougher opponents than him. Like the kit? Clear Sky asked, unable to find words strong enough to express his disgust with the rogue. The helpless kit you practically tore apart? For fun? One Eye flicked his tail dismissively. That kit was too proud, he mewed. She didn't know when to give up. Now she's learned a valuable lesson. Clear Sky's claws slid out, and his forelegs swiped a hard blow at the side of One Eye's head. The rogue dodged it with no trouble at all, giving Clear Sky a derisive look. You can't stop me from defending my honor. Your honor? Against a kit? He told Clear Sky. That's how it works in the real world. Honor? Clear Sky thought. This cat has no honor. He struck at One Eye again, but the rogue avoided that blow with as much ease as the first. We have rules here, Clear Sky hissed. Your so-called rules are a joke. One Eye snarled. No cat really cares about anything but himself. Pretending otherwise just causes heartache and sickness. Clear Sky's heart thumped comfortably. Sickness? What do you know about the sickness? He demanded. One Eye gave the same dismissive flick of his tail. That bird was very ill, Clear Sky went on, his apprehension growing with every heartbeat. Do you know more about it than you told us? I know enough to tell you that some of the cats in your group are as good as dead. He didn't know if One Eye's words were to be trusted, but he felt his fur bristling along his back. Which ones? He demanded. How do you know? One Eye flicked his tail again. I could tell you, but I won't bother. Guess I only care about myself. Clear Sky found the malevolence in his single eye sickening. A red mist clouded Clear Sky's vision. He pounced on One Eye, holding him down with both forepaws while he dug into the rogue's neck with his teeth. One Eye struggled, but rage gave Clear Sky new strength. Every instinct was urging him to rip up the vile cat's throat and let his blood run into the grass. You should do it, dude. You should. That would redeem you, I think. Hi,
But he knew that would be to lower himself to the same disgusting level. Instead, he stood back, releasing one eye. The rogue leapt up, smoothing one paw over his ears. "Get out of here," Clear Sky ordered. "Yeah, Clear Sky, don't have morals now! You killed Alder and what's-his-face's dad, mom, so fast, for no reason!" "Get out of here," Clear Sky ordered, forcing his voice to remain even as he spat out the words, "Do not come back, or I will kill you with my own claws." As One Eye glared for a moment, Clear Sky realized something that had always bothered him about the rogue. His eye had no expression, just a malignant yellow glow. Oh my god.
"You'll kill me, will you?" the rogue asked. "Will you really?"
Clear Sky felt the blood pounding in his ears and braced himself, ready for battle. But One Eye turned away, headed for the edge of the clearing and into the trees. Clear Sky took a deep breath. One Eye is gone, and I feel like he's taken all of my honor with him. He realized that he should have driven One Eye out after he challenged his authority in front of Tall Shadow and Thunder. How will I ever explain what happened to my cats? Ready to despair, Clear Sky closed his eyes. A heartbeat later, he felt a hard blow on his back and let out a startled yowl. Claws dug into his back, and One Eye snaked a paw around Clear Sky's neck, aiming for his eye. Oh my god. That's a move Tom came up with, Clear Sky thought, struggling frantically to throw One Eye off. Pain stabbed into his face as One Eye ranked a claw over his cheek. Clear Sky let himself go limp and collapsed on the ground, rolling over so that One Eye was underneath him. Then he wriggled around and swiped his claws across the rogue's shoulder. "He's a dirty fighter!" Breaking his grip, Clear Sky sprang to his paws, panting.
"You'll kill me, will you?"
One Eye sneered, raising to face him.
"You'll kill One Eye? If One Eye were that easy to kill, he'd have never survived kithood."
He spat at Clear Sky, pointing with his tail at the wound along his face.
"Keep that to remember me by," he snarled.
As the rose slunk away into the forest, Clear Sky felt his legs trembling. He sank to the ground, taking huge gulps of air. He felt so utterly defeated, as though he would never be able to get up again. I've made a terrible mistake. I like it when he does speak in third person. It feels more himself.
"You dare speak to One Eye? Like that?"
Blasphemy. Oh. Okay, I read a little into the next chapter, and so now I have to read it because I read something horrible. Chapter 11. Greywing woke up, blinking at the sunlight that streamed into his den. The kits who shared it with him were nowhere to be seen, their nests cold. Where have they gone? He wondered, struggling to his paws and trying to ignore the ache in his joints. Hope they're not getting into any trouble. He would never forget how Tom had taken the kits away and how Turtletail had been killed when she went to look for them. And now Tom's in the forest again. Leaving the den, Greywing saw that the sun was already high in the sky. It was a crisp, cold day with a hint of frost in the breeze. Tall Shadow was sitting on her rock, keeping watch as usual. Lightning Tail and Shattered Ice were returning from a hunting expedition, a rabbit dangling from each of their jaws, while the three newcomers were practicing their hunting moves in the middle of the clearing. I must have slept in again, Greywing thought guiltily, remembering the days when he would be awake. He would always be the first cat to wake up. An ear-splitting yowl roused Greywing from his memories. That's Windrunner! His pelt prickling with apprehension, Greywing turned towards Windrunner's den, seeing that several cats were clustered around the entrance. His fear deepening, his heart beginning to pound, he raced over to join them. Shouldering his way between Jagged Peak and Dapplepelt, he saw that Windrunner's kit Morning Whisker was laying on her side just inside the den, her belly horribly swollen. No! Blood was dribbling from her mouth and from sores beneath her fur. Nausea gripped Greywing's belly at the same time as deep compassion welled up inside him. She has the sickness. I can't bear it! Windrunner whimpered. She was standing a couple fox lengths away, leaning on Gorsefur for support. I can't lose another kid. Why couldn't it have been me instead? Then Greywing spotted Pebbleheart slipping into the den beside Warning Whisker and leaning over her, opening his jaws to put some chewed-up herbs into the sick kit's mouth. Her litter mates, Mothflight and Dustmuzzle, watched anxiously from their mother's side. I thought she only had 2 cats. I thought she only had 3 kits, and 1 died. Did she have 4? Can't remember. Come on. Instinctively, Greywing sprang forward and knocked Pebbleheart away from the struggling kit, spinning around to face him. What are you doing? He demanded angrily. Stay away from that kit. She's dying. Pebbleheart set the lump of chewed leaves down carefully. I know, he replied. I was helping to treat her. Cloudspot says that Tansy... Where is Cloudspots? Greywing interrupted. He should be dealing with this, not a cat as young as you. Pebbleheart rubbed his cheek affectionately against Greywing's shoulder. Cloudspots went to gather herbs. We've been using the Tansy, and we've nearly finished what we had in our collection. We need more, so Cloudspots left me in charge. Morning Whisker, who is dying? Dustmuzzle and Mothflight. That's so sad. Greywing closed his eyes, feeling like a complete mouse brain. Oh, he muttered. His instinct still screamed at him to keep Pebbleheart away from the sick cat, although he knew that poor little Morning Whisker had no other hope. Pebbleheart is special, he reminded himself. He has his own path to follow. I'm going to give this Tansy to Morning Whisker, Pebbleheart mewed, picking up the chewed-up lump and gently forcing it between her jaws. Don't worry, Cloudspots told me to be careful not to touch her sores or let her breathe on me. As Greywing watched, Owl Eyes slipped up to his side and touched noses with him. Morning Whisker will be okay, won't she? He asked anxiously. Greywing let out a long sigh. I don't know. There's so much I don't know these days. Greywing padded over to Gorsefur and Windrunner, laying his tail comfortingly over the distraught she-cat's back. Morning Whisker will be okay, he told her, wishing he believed his own words. You mustn't lose hope. Windrunner broke off her pitiful yowling and sank to the ground. That's easy for you to say, she whimpered. All your kits are alive and healthy. Greywing rested upon her shoulder. My kits may be alive, he mewed gently, but my mate is gone, and I know grief as well as you. You cannot let the misery overwhelm you. Your other kits still need you, and you must focus on helping them. Windrunner blinked and turned her head away, still trembling, but Gorsefur gave Greywing a grateful nod. We don't know what'll happen, he murmured to his mate. Greywing padded away, leaving the 2 cats to their suffering. Then he realized that one of his kits was still unaccounted for. Beckoning to Owl Eyes, he asked, Where's Sparrowfur? She went to find our father, Owl Eyes replied. Greywing flinched, though he tried to hide the pain he felt to hear one of the kits call Tom his father, even though it's true. Wait a moment, he meowed. Why would she go off into the forest without telling me? Owl Eye scrambled at the ground with his forepaws, not meeting Greywing's eyes. Jagged Peak said it was okay. Anyway, we're all one big group now, aren't we? Sort of, Greywing responded, wincing as he realized he wasn't sure what the rules were anymore. He couldn't help thinking of Tom's treachery in the past, the way he had stolen the kits, and that he might have been involved in Turtletail's death. No, this isn't right, he growled, glancing around wildly. Fear surged over him as he imagined what Tom might do to Sparrowfur, or what other dangers the kit might encounter alone in the forest without him or our den mates. Foxes, dogs, 2-legs. She might meet any of them. We have to form a search party. We have to get her back. He spotted Jagged Peak, who had joined Holly and the other newcomers, and beckoned him over with a commanding flick of his tail. Sparrowfur, my kit, went off to find Tom the kitty pet, and Owl Eye said you gave her permission. Jagged Peak's eyes widened with surprise. Yeah, I did. Is there a problem? A problem? Greywing was stunned. You let her go? She's just a kit. Jagged Peak began to look uncomfortable. I'm sorry, I thought it'd be okay. After all, he is their father, and she's not a tiny kid anymore. Greywing had to admit that his brother was right. The kits were growing up. And Sparrowfur always knows what she wants, just like her mother. Greywing's heart pounded. As he thought over what Jagged Peak had just told him, it sounds so reasonable, he thought, and yet they have no mother now. He meowed, I'm all they have. I must protect her. Jagged Peak twitched his whiskers to show he understood. That's true, he responded gently, but the kids are nearly grown. They aren't helpless anymore. They're old enough to make their own decisions, and all three of them wanted to train with Tom. Greywing shook his head. But what if... What if what? Jagged Peak asked, amusement glimmering in his blue eyes. You can't protect them forever. You can't protect any cat forever, Greywing, no matter how hard you try to. That's a lesson I must learn too. All this reassurance is nice and all, but Sparrowfur is almost bleeding out to death.
Hi, Levi.
Levi? Levy?
Levy. Hi, welcome in.
Minis! Yeah, so about Sparrowfur being okay. And they're talking like, oh, she's almost grown. But then when she was in Clear Sky's like camp, everyone was like, she's just a kid. She's just a kid. She's so small. So like, Greywing looked at him and wondered whether the young cat was talking about how Greywing had treated him. It's true. I have always tried to protect him, but where's the harm in that? Then he turned his head to one side, realizing what his brother had said.
Mwah!
What do you mean? He asked. A lesson you must learn? Jagged Beak leaned in closer to Greywing, his whiskers quivering with excitement. I've got news, he announced, and I want you to be the first to hear it. It's very early yet, but I can't keep quiet any longer. I'm going to be a father. Soon I will have kids of my own. Aww. That was fast, though. Greywing stepped back a pace and stared at him. In his mind, Jagged Peak was still the tiny kid who had run away from the mountain cave. Needed looking after on the journey. And now he's going to have kids of his own. With Holly? Yes, of course with Holly, Jagged Peak responded. We love each other. Never felt this way before, he admitted shyly. She challenges me, and we keep each other on our paw tips. I just hope I can be as good as a father as you've been to Turtletail's kids. Greywing hardly heard the last few words. He was staring at Jagged Peak, realizing that his brother looked happier than he ever had since they came from the mountains. His pelt in his eyes shone, and he barely limped anymore. It also seemed the confidence he once had before his fall from the tree was back. I promised Quiet Rain I would take care of Jagged Peak, he thought ruefully, and I've done my best to keep that promise. But by protecting him so fiercely, have I been holding him back? As Greywing was lost in thought, Thunder stalked into the camp with Cloudspots just behind him. Both were carrying herbs. Greywing looked up and remembered that Pebbleheart had told him Cloudspots had gone out foraging, but he hadn't realized Thunder was with him. I slept through all of this, and no cat thought to wake me. Thunder and Cloudspots bounded across the hollow, carrying the herbs to Windrunner's den. Cloudspots stayed to examine Morning Whisker, but Thunder padded back to the center of the camp and glanced around. Let's gather around to the lookout rock, he meowed to his den mates. I have an announcement. Dang, time is moving. Greywing, you're getting old. Greywing followed him and sat at the foot of the rock. While the rest of the cats gathered, Thunder leaped up beside Tall Shadow, waiting until every cat was assembled. We must be extra vigilant about the sickness, he began once his den mates were ready. His gaze troubled. From now on, no cat is to touch Morning Whisker except for Cloudspots and Pebbleheart. No, Windrunner, not even you and Gorsefur, he added as the tabby she-cat opened her mouth to protest. Greywing could sense Windrunner's grief and anger as she gazed up at Thunder with a challenge in her eyes, but Gorsefur touched his tail tip to her shoulder and murmured something into her ear. Windrunner gave a reluctant nod and seemed to relax. And we must all be careful when we're out hunting, Thunder went on. No going after prey that's been near a sick animal. Better to go hungry than to bring illness back into the camp. As the cats began to murmur among themselves, Thunder nodded, adding, That's all.
and jumped down from the rock. Greywing caught his eye and beckoned him aside. When did Morning Whisker become ill? He asked. Just after moon high, Thunder replied. You were sleeping soundly, Greywing, so no cat woke you. But listen, he added, looking troubled. Cloudspots has never seen this sickness before. We have no cure for it, and I'm so worried about Windrunner. She's still grieving for the first kid she lost. What do you think I should do? Just give her time. Greywing was opening his jaws to reply when he realized that this was all wrong. Thunder should be working on what he wanted to do, not asking other cats for advice. I'm probably the last cat you should ask, he stammered. I'm still grieving too. Thunder brushed his tail along Greywing's flank. I miss Turtletail, he murmured, then padded off to check on Morning Whisker. Greywing watched him go, his pelt prickling like a whole nest of ants was crawling through it. If I stay in Thunder's camp, and if I'm always there for Thunder to consult, will I be holding him back as a leader? Bro. Greywing sighed and turned away from the group of cats clustered once more around Windrunner's den. He knew that there was nothing he could do to help Morning Whisker, and he wanted to stay out of the grieving family's way. After a moment, he began padding up the slope out of the hollow, wondering whether to go hunting. But at the edge of the camp, Greywing halted. In the distance, he spotted a cat heading straight towards him, racing across the moor with his belly brushing the grass and his tail streaming out behind him. As Greywing watched, he stumbled over a tussock of grass, rolled over, and kept running. Oh my god. Clearly some huge need was driving him. Only Windrunner has that speed. But it's not Windrunner. As the cat grew nearer, Greywing could see how dirty and disheveled he was. His fur clumped and stained, and for all his speed, he was limping on one paw as if he had been in a fight. Then recognition burst over Greywing like a shock of icy water. Clear Sky! Dang, Clear Sky fast! He is Greywing's brother. I guess so. Greywing fast? Can't remember. This isn't fair! My throat is like raspy, but I want to read the next chapter. Okay, one more chapter. One more chapter. I can do it. Greywing sprang a few paces across the moor to meet his brother, who collapsed at his paws, panting. There were scratches across his face, his fur spiky where blood had dried. As Clear Sky struggled for breath, Greywing reflected on how strange it felt that he, who had suffered so much with his breathing since the forest fire, should be waiting for his strong, fit brother to be able to speak. True! He can never fully sprint anymore. He has asthma. What happened to him? Clear Sky looked up at Greywing, his eyes full of misery. I made a dreadful mistake, he gasped. I should have never... I can't believe... Just get it out! Some cat snapped out these words from behind Greywing, surprising him. He turned to see that Jagged Peak had emerged from the hollow, with Holly just behind him. What are you trying to tell us? A terrible sense of foreboding settled over Greywing, like a storm cloud heavy with rain. He could still hear Windrunner's soft wailing from the other side of the camp. What's that? Clear Sky asked, sitting up and angling his ears in that direction. What happened? It's Windrunner, Greywing explained. Her kit Morning Whisker is very sick. Clear Sky's shoulders sagged. Then what I'm about to say will be even more difficult to hear. You have troubles enough without it. Greywing's apprehension grew as he dug his claws into the ground. Just tell me, he rasped. It's sparrow fur, Clear Sky began, as if he had to force each word out. Greywing felt his heart clench. What happened to my kit? When I attacked her, and when Tom tried to intervene, when I killed him. He shook his head helplessly. I thought One Eye would help my group, teaching us his fighting moves, giving us different ways to see things. But now I realize something's very wrong with him. He's not only attacked a kit, he killed the cat who was supposed to be his friend. Greywing could barely speak. Sparrow fur, he choked out. Is she dead? Clear Sky shook his head. No, but she was very badly wounded.
Greywing immediately turned to look at Jagged Peak. He could see pain in his eyes, but it wasn't enough. Greywing wanted to hurt Jagged Peak the same way Clear Sky's news was hurting him. Greywing lashed his tail at Holly, who drawn protectively close to Jagged Peak.
Leave us to talk about this in private,
he snapped. Holly opened her jaws to retort, and clearly thought the better of it. She glanced questioningly at Jagged Peak, who gave her a silent nod. After a brief hesitation, Holly drew back a few paces and joined Mudpaw and Mousehair, who had heard the commotion and were watching from close by.
I feel dreadful.
Clear Sky's voice was breaking as he darted glances between Greywing and Jagged Peak. This is all my fault. Greywing tried in vain to stop his body from trembling, with rage as much as fear for the injured kid. He fixed an icy glance at Jagged Peak.
No, he told Clear Sky, it's not all your fault. Our brother here is just as much to blame as you are.
Jagged Peak limped forward. I'm sorry, Greywing. I should have checked with you. Sparrowfur was so insistent, he mewed defensively.
If Sparrowfur insisted she was to leap into a shallow, swollen river, would you let her do that?
Greywing hissed at him.
If she insisted on eating one of those sick mice, would you encourage her? You're so sure that you're better now, that you deserve to be a father. But you let a young kid leave our camp, alone and unprotected, and now she's fighting for her life. You don't deserve to have kids of your own. Oh!
At those words, Holly leaped forward and confronted Greywing nose to nose.
Don't you dare speak to Jagged Peak like that, she snarled.
Too furious to respond, Greywing whirled away from her to face Jagged Peak.
Do you need your mate to stand up for you? He asked mockingly. I hope she's not depending on you for any help when she has her kids.
Hearing himself, Greywing felt his fur bristle with shame, but he was too angry to stop. Then suddenly a paw came lashing out and caught him hard on the side of his jaw. Jagged Peak is fighting back. As he was wrestled to the ground, Greywing could feel hard muscles beneath the young cat's pelt. Injured leg or not, Jagged Peak had been training recently. For a moment, the brothers tussled together on the ground. Then Greywing felt a paw on his side, thrusting him away. He heard Clear Sky's voice. Stop it, both of you! Do you think fighting helps? As Greywing staggered to his paws, he saw Holly watching all three of them, cold fury brewing in her eyes.
Do whatever you have to, but resolve this, she hissed. Stop fighting among yourselves, and don't you dare take your own pain out on Jagged Peak.
With those harsh words, she spun on her paws and stalked away. Greywing could feel shame radiating off his pelt as he watched her go. She's right, Clear Sky mewed. I didn't come here to watch you two fight. I came for your help. Sparrowfur is in bad shape, and I'm sure she would rather be home. I think she should come back to your camp. One Eye loathes her, and for whatever reason, until I can...
You're not telling me you still welcome One Eye into your camp after what he did?
Greywing asked, astounded. No! I told him I never wanted to see his miserable pelt again, but... Clear Sky's words dried up, and he raked the tough moorland grass with his claws. For a few heartbeats, he stared at the ground, looking pained. Then he cleared his throat and continued. Till I can get my group settled again, I don't think Sparrowfur should be there. You mean her life is in danger? Greywing challenged him. He could feel anger swelling up inside him. Because you can't be certain you can protect her from One Eye? Clear Sky's only response was a helpless shrug. For the first time in his life, Greywing realized he felt little respect for his brother. Really? After all that's happened? He's been cowed by a dangerous, violent rogue. Unite or die, Greywing thought, suppressing a sigh. That's what the spirit cats told us. They didn't warn us that there were cats in this forest we should never unite with. And now poor Sparrowfur has paid the price. Greywing pushed his brother aside and stormed past him, heading back into the hollow. I need to go and rescue my kit, he snarled over his shoulder. I helped raise her from a newborn, and in her mother's memory I won't allow her to be treated like this. Greywing headed straight for Windrunner's den, where he found Pebbleheart looking after Morning Whisker, still being careful not to touch her sores or breathe her breath. Owl Eyes was looking on, helping to chew the tansy. Greywing beckoned them over with a wave of his tail. I have some upsetting news. Sparrowfur has been hurt, he explained gently to the two kids. She's in Clear Sky's camp. Seeing the dismayed glance in the two little Toms exchanged, Greywing knew he wasn't prepared to tell him that their father was dead.
Maybe we can talk about that in private when we're walking across the moor. I need to bring her back home, he went on. Will you come and help me? I know that seeing you will make her feel better.
Owl Eyes nodded eagerly. Of course I'll come, Greywing. Can we go now? Pebbleheart looked anxious, but to Greywing's surprise, he said nothing.
Is something wrong?
Pebbleheart cast a glance over his shoulder to where Morning Whisker was lying. Something's telling me to stay here, he confessed at last. Morning Whisker needs me right now.
But
Greywing could hardly find the words. Your own sister is injured and alone. Yes, injured, Pebbleheart agreed, beginning to sound more confident. But not alone. Clear Sky's cats will look after her, and you'll bring her back to the hollow. But Morning Whisker... He cast another glance over his shoulder at the sick kit and lowered his voice. This is really serious. I feel it in the depths of my belly. It would be wrong for me to leave now. Greywing frowned, but he knew there was no point in arguing. Pebbleheart had made up his mind. Okay, if you must, he responded. Come on, Owl Eyes, let's go. Clear Sky fell into step with Greywing as he and Owl Eyes left the hollow. I'll run ahead and let my cats know that you're coming, he meowed. They can start to get Sparrowfur ready to make the journey back with you. Greywing gave a curt nod and felt relieved when Clear Sky raced off. He hoped he could forgive his brother someday, but right now he wasn't sure that he even wanted to look at him again. Why was Sparrowfur so keen to visit Tom? He asked Owl Eyes. As they headed across the moor, Owl Eyes looked uncomfortable. We have always been curious about our father, he mewed at last. It's hard only knowing half your kin, especially when your mother is dead and you feel like an orphan. Greywing felt his heart cracking open like a dead tree in the forest. Doesn't it count for anything that I did my best to be a father to these kids? He didn't need to speak. Owl Eyes glanced at him and seemed to realize his mistake at once. Oh, but of course we love you, Greywing. His eyes were wide and guilty as he saw the pain in the older cat's expression. We will always love you. It's just... The words fell like stone, giving Greywing no reassurance. I'm not your father, am I? He asked, unable to keep the bitterness out of his voice. We just want to know our other father, the father whose blood we carry. Is that too much to ask? Owl Eyes pleaded. Sadly, it is. Greywing halted, realizing now that he couldn't keep the truth from this sensitive kid. Owl Eyes, let's stop for a moment. There's something I need to tell you. Your father, Tom, is dead. Owl Eyes stared up at Greywing, his eyes dark with horror. No, but how? He stammered. Sparrowfur was hurt because when I attacked her, Tom saved her, and when I killed him. Greywing rested his tail across the kit's shoulders. I'm so sorry. Owl Eyes' head drooped. I can't come with you. Greywing felt like he'd been hit in the chest. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. The little Tom didn't look up, and his voice shook as he went on. I have to go back to camp. I can't face Clear Sky after he allowed that cat into his group. When the young cat finally met his gaze, Greywing could see the mixture of grief and anger in his expression, and his heart almost broke to think of what these kits had faced in their short lives. I understand, he meowed. Owl Eyes turned away and headed back towards the hollow, his shoulders hunched and his tail trailing along the ground. Gradually he picked up his pace until he was racing along, as if he could outrun the news of his father's death. With a heavy heart, Greywing turned his paw steps back towards the forest. As he passed under the outlying trees, hearing the dead leaves crunching under his paws, he braced himself for what he might find in Clear Sky's camp. Sparrowfur was so small, and One Eye's claws are so cruel. When Greywing finally reached the clearing where Clear Sky and his cats lived, he found Clear Sky waiting for him at the edge of the camp. His brother led him to a sheltered spot underneath an oak tree where Sparrowfur was sitting up and nibbling on a mouse. Thank you for the follow, Iron BB! Bzzz. Here follows the bee's knees! Glad to be here, yay! There were scratches down her pelt and places where her fur had been torn out. One spot was still covered by a thick poultice of cobwebs, but her eyes were bright and she tried to struggle to her paws when she saw Greywing. You stay where you are, Petal told her firmly, pressing her back with a gentle paw into a nest of moss and fern. You need to look after those wounds. That's right, Quickwater agreed. She was chewing up some marigold leaves and began to trickle the juice onto Sparrow for his scratches. Keep still and let this soak in, she told the kit. Dapple Pelt says it's good to stop infection. Thank you for taking such good care of her, Greywing told the she-cats as he bent over to touch noses with Sparrow fur. Petal ducked her head, looking faintly embarrassed. I don't know much about healing herbs, she meowed, but I do know how to survive after so many seasons of living on my own. The little tomkit Birch pattered up with a bundle of dripping moss in his jaws. There you go, he told Sparrowfur, dropping it in front of her. Now you can have a good drink. Sparrowfur looked up at him, blinking gratefully. Thank you. You're welcome. Me and Adler like having another young cat in the camp, Birch added to Greywing. Though he was impressed by kindness all these cats were showing Sparrowfur, Greywing still didn't want to spend too long in Clear Sky's camp. He glanced around him, peering among the trees, wondering if he would catch a glimpse of One Eye lurking there. Clear Sky was obviously afraid that the rogue might come sneaking back, so he would have never called Greywing here to collect his kit. Come on, Sparrowfur, Clear Sky urged her now. It's time for you to go home. Owl Eyes and Pebbleheart are waiting for you, and there's good news to share. Jagged Peak is going to be a father. But Sparrowfur didn't pay any attention to the news about Jagged Peak. Not moving from her nest, she glanced at Birch. Oh my god, she has a crush on this cat. She has a baby crush on this baby. These two babies. I'd rather stay here for now, she mewed. Greywing twitched an ear. What? But Clear Sky spoke his thoughts before Greywing could gather his wits. Don't you want to be with your brothers in your own group? Clear Sky asked, clearly as surprised as Greywing. It would be nice to see them, but I like it here, Sparrowfur retorted. I think I'm fine just where I am. In the very place you were attacked? Greywing exclaimed, his pads tingling with alarm. She wasn't attacked here, Clear Sky pointed out, and assuming you let her stay, I'll make sure it doesn't happen again. Greywing shot his brother a skeptical glance. You were the cat who came dashing across the moor to see me, terrified that One Eye would hurt her again. But as he opened his mouth to protest, he was erupted by a small mewl of pain as Sparrowfur shifted on her haunches. Instantly, Birch bent over her, stirring up the moss and fern in her nest to make it more comfortable. Her eyelids were drooping with fatigue as she stretched her jaws wide in a yawn. He's already risen her up! She's still weak, Greywing realized. As much as he wanted her home, the kit was in no state to be trekking across the moor. Very well. I can see she needs to stay put for now, he meowed reluctantly, but I want her home soon. Would you like to stay with her? Clear Sky offered. You're welcome here. Yes, stay, Quickwater urged. I'll make a nest for you. For a moment, Greywing was tempted, but as much as he wanted to watch over the kit, his pelt prickled at the thought of staying in Clear Sky's camp. He didn't belong in the forest, and as much as he doubted his judgment where One Eye was concerned, Greywing knew that his brother had only good intentions towards Sparrowfur, and would make sure that she was well and cared for. No, I have to go, he sighed. It might be best, Petal murmured gently. I know your den mates need you. We'll let you know when Sparrowfur is ready to travel. Meanwhile, Clear Sky had beckoned some of his other cats, including Acornfur, who gave a nervous nod to Greywing. Acornfur, I'll put you in charge of making sure Sparrowfur always has enough prey, Clear Sky instructed. And Quickwater, see if you can find some more marigold leaves to put on her wounds when she wakes up. And all of you, keep your eyes open, he finished. You know what for. Greywing realized that Sparrowfur was in good paws. There was no need for him to stay there any longer. He backed up and slipped away through the trees, trying not to feel hurt when no cat called after him. The sun was setting when Greywing reached the edge of the forest. A chilly wind had set in, ruffling his fur. The cold seemed to go right through his bones. Suddenly, Greywing drew to a stop. The journey back to the hollow seemed like a huge effort. He felt no joy at the prospect of going home. He would need to seek Jagged Peak, and while he knew he should apologize to his brother for his harsh words, he was still finding it hard to forgive him for letting Sparrowfur go out alone. Petal was wrong, he thought sadly. No cat really needs me. Aww. I know that feeling. I know that feeling, Greywing. Instead, Greywing found his paw steps leading him along the edge of the forest to a place where so many of his friends were buried beneath the spreading branches of the 4 oaks. By now, the ground was covered with dead leaves. There was no sign that there was a grave there at all. Greywing was shivering with cold, but he couldn't bring himself to move away. He gazed up at the sky, not feeling surprised when the spirit cats failed to appear. But then a voice spoke from behind him. I thought I told you to stay away from this place. River Ripple stepped out from the undergrowth and pressed himself against Greywing's side. Greywing was surprised, but also grateful for the warmth of his thick, silvery pelt. This isn't doing you very good, Greywing. Come back to my island with me. Oh my god! New POV? River Ripple? Greywing looked at him, startled. This independent loner is opening his home to me? River Ripple was already padding away, his tail high in the air. Well, are you coming or what? He asked. Greywing cast a final glance at the grave. Yes, he stood and followed River Ripple's paw steps. Aww. He should have at least, told his friends, I guess when you're in that mindset, right, where he's like, nobody actually needs me anymore, it doesn't make you want to tell anyone where you're going, because it's kind of like, almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And it's like, if they really cared about me, then they would come looking for me. And if they don't care about me, then, well, or if they don't look for me, then, well, they don't really care about me, do they? So I guess that makes sense. He's just like, I just want to be alone. I want a new place to go. He's getting too old. I don't think he is actually getting too old. He's just like fatigued by by everything. He's been through so much. He has asthma and his joints hurt. He's like, I feel like he's probably like a 7-year-old cat, you know? I don't know actually how... Somebody has probably looked it up. How old do the warrior cats... You have asthma too? just like Greywing. Yeah, Greywing has asthma. He got it because he inhaled too much smoke. What is the average... Wait, what is the average lifespan of the warrior cat? Yeah, I didn't inhale smoke. Good. Age of the cats and time period since dawn of the clans. Since dawn of the clans? Oh. What age did the cats become elders? Smoking hot. I think 1 to 11 years is good, maybe even 13 depending on the cat. Cats can live a long time. In my mind, they become elders depending on how they physically feel. I haven't read this series in a long time. Elsewhere basically retired because she had a bad bellyache and it took her a little too long to get over it. Stoneton, he was Rurikhan apprentice in Dawn, and he made a warrior in Twilight. He then became an elder in the Sight, which means he was about 1 year and 9 months old when he became an elder. Only? I feel like he's an outlier. I recently put all of RiverClan into a database, and like 6 different cats went from being apprentices or new warriors to being elders in like one book. It's ridiculous. Rushtail was one. What? RiverClan needs to get their acts together. We have warriors dying 3 times in a row and apprentices disappearing off the face of the earth. So funny. Dapplenose was a new apprentice in the site and an elder in the 4th apprentice. Where's that shade poke? Cats in the wild even live up to around 15 years. 7 years old. Maximum age should be 10 years old. Seems like nobody has... Maybe a few people have made some math, you know, like counted out the ages of them specifically. They've only done a few where they're able to like see them when they're kittens and then able to like they haven't died when they're warriors or anything. They actually make it to being an elder. There's only so many, I think. So it's hard to do the math, I guess. And you can't really, because Dustpelt in the main series, he's like old. He's older than Longtail, and Longtail had to retire early because of his sight. And mouse fur. Like Dustpelt should be. Dustpelt's crazy. Dustpelt is like the eldest, I think. Next to Mouse Fur. I guess Mouse Fur was a warrior when Firepaw came in, right? Like a new warrior? I'm pretty sure. And Dustpelt was Dustpaw, so crazy. Misty Star is the oldest, actually. How old? I guess. She seems so young and crisp because I don't know. She just does. To be fair though, like the leaders are weird because they have like 9 lives, right? Like, do they die of old age or do they die when they're old and then like they come back and like some of their old stuff like gets fixed? Can you imagine dying of old age and then coming back and being like, oh my god, I can breathe a little better now? How would their body recover? I guess the same way as any other like wound, right? Because like it's like your body is deteriorating. So it would just need to be like re-strengthened again, like how when someone like when a leader dies of a sickness, for example, they're recovered by like the sickness going away and what's been like damaged repaired. So I imagine it'd be probably similar to that. Aging would have to be reversed. It's Benjamin Button. It's Benjamin Button. All of a sudden your leader comes out and he looks like 15 again. As in like 15 cat years. Like he looks like a teenager again. And they're like, oh my god, what happened to you? You look wonderful. It's like, I died of old age, but I'm back again. I'm back again! Or at least like a young adult. Or like a mid-adult. Why can't we get? Because they always die before then. They always die before then. I think if I were the Aarons, I would have a massive spreadsheet about how old everybody was. And like everything about everybody. And then they're like
offsprings and stuff. I saw someone try and make a offspring about from the main cast and how they're basically like all connected. It's funny. Okay, we're on chapter 13, but that's where we're gonna stop for today. My throat's a little stanky, and we did it. I mean, we did end up getting pretty far. We like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, almost 3 hours. That's good. Warrior Cats 2 years ago. Oh, Taskmaster! That's what I want to do. Okay, sorry. I want to like make sure I write down like goals that I want to accomplish in the future. One of my goals is to do a Taskmaster as a warrior, not as a warrior cat. Sorry, as a VTuber. Notes. Keep notes. Text. Goals. Become. Wait. Partner officially with Dev Sisters in Cookie Run. Revive Puzzle Pirates and own the biggest crew. Autism stream official because I'll sleep. Good night! Hi, Husky Wolf! Welcome in! But I think you really like a green BBQ though.
Okay.
Very weird and has lots of dialogue. I'll Google it right now so I don't forget. In the dream BBQ. Oh! Oh my god! Actually, I know this! I think Dunn was telling me to play this game. I should play it though. I should! Thank you so much, Dagnya! I'll put it on something. You do? Yeah! I don't know much about it. I think I just remember Dunn was telling me how cool it was and if I've ever heard of it and if I should play it, so. I'll go into it, spoiler, like, no context. Contextless. Blind. I'll go in completely blind. Okay, wait. I have to go back to my list. Can I make a better list? Wait. List. Oops. Copy. Paste. New item. Oops. Copy. Be on Taskmaster as the first VTuber somehow. Or make a VTuber version. That one will be like pretty low on the list though. Be a guest on Smash or drop out. What's another goal that I had?
Night-night, cat.
The video was released after the game, though.
Ooh.
Okay, those are the goals I remember right now. Oops. Cool. I need to write them down because they slipped my mind.
Alright, guys. You wish you know how to read Himon?
Good thing I can read for you. I'll read it all for you. Don't worry. But right now, we're finished, so we cannot read anymore. We're gonna go raid.
Oh, the choices.
We have Lambriel. Oh, Blue Prince! Oh my god, this guy's a daikon. I'm gonna raid this guy.
He's a radish. A radish. Thank you for the follow, Himon.
Welcome to the clan. Your story begins now. Oh my god, so true. You start stream. Usually I start stream at 3 p.m. PST on weekdays. But I won't be able to stream tomorrow or Friday. Because I work really long hours. But I'll try to stream on Saturday, I think. I'll try to stream on Saturday and to make up for it. 3 a.m. Oh my god, 3 a.m. Jeez Louise. Oh my god, karaoke break right now. Wonderful. I think he's playing on a real guitar. Oh my god, this is perfect.
Okay, guys, go say hi to the daikon for me. I love you. I'll see you all hopefully on Saturday. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Blowing you kisses.
Have a good rest of your day. Sleep well. Brush your teeth.
Do a little dance for me.